Ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaba mpenzi mtazamaji, assalamu alaikum popote pale ulipo, hujambo na karibu kwenye taarifa za Darubini ya Channel 1, ikiwa ni siku ya 18 mwezi wa 8 mwaka 2022. Uchaguzi uliisha, shule zimefunguliwa na mwalimu amerudi darasani.
Nimerudi darasani huku baada ya wiki mbili za kupumzika. Pia wanafunzi wameweza kurejea shuleni na ni mengi tuliyokuandalia. Kumbuka kwa sasa hivi wanafunzi wa grade ya 6 wanatarajiwa kuchagua shule za junior secondary ambazo wangependa kujiunga nazo. Ni yapi tuliyokuandalia hivi leo kuhusiana na waziri wa elimu kuhusiana na mambo hayo? Ni vipi ambavyo unavyostahili kuchagua shule? Kama unataka mtoto wako awe karibu na wewe, hatua zipi ambazo unastahili kuchukua? Taarifa hiyo tumekuandalia hapa hivi leo, lakini kwanza kabisa mtazamaji, hebu tupate vidokezo.
Wanafunzi warejelea masomo, wazazi wakilia kuhusu muda uliopotea. Rufaa yawasilishwa mahakamani kuitaka tume ya IEBC kuandaa uchaguzi wa ugavana Mombasa.
An officer came from nowhere, shot at me and left me crying for help.
Na afisa wa tume ya IEBC ajeruhiwa kwa kupigwa risasi baada ya uchaguzi wajia.
Karibu mtazamaji, tuandamane hadi tamati. Naitwa Ahmed Jumabalo, ukipenda niite AJB. Mwenzetu wa lugha ishara ni Byron Abuli.
Na mimi naitwa Beatrice Gatonyangetich. Karibu kwenye taarifa zetu jioni ya leo. Baadhi ya wazazi wa wanafunzi kwenye shule za umma sasa wanaitaka serikali kuweka vituo mbadala vya kupigia kura katika chaguzi zijazo. Haya yamewadia huku wanafunzi wakirejea shuleni baada ya likizo fupi ya majuma mawili ambapo shule zilifungwa kwa ajili ya uchaguzi mkuu.
Hiki ni kituo cha mabasi cha Railways jijini Nairobi. Wazazi na watoto waliofika hapa tangu saa 11 alfajiri bado hawajasafiri kuelekea shuleni.
We were here by around 6 and the buses some have left, some have not left. Actually there is no bus as we are speaking now. So there are students who had been booked early in the morning and they couldn't get to go to the buses because they were full. So we are stranded. We are trying to work on how to secure a bus for the children who are going to some of those schools in Western.
Hali ni sawia katika kituo cha mabasi kilichoko karibu na jengo la Afya Center katikati ya jiji.
Tangu tukuja hapa tumesimama sana, hakuna magari ya kwenda Kitui. Hata na leo ni siku ya kufungua shule na tuone dalili ya magari imekosa. Magari
machache ya uchukuzi wa umma yaliyoko yameongeza nauli maradufu. Lakini hali inaonekana kuwa shwari katika kituo cha mabasi cha Green Park ambapo wanafunzi wanaabiri magari ya kuwapeleka shuleni kwa utulivu. Wanafunzi wanarejea shuleni baada ya likizo fupi iliyosababishwa na uchaguzi mkuu. Baadhi ya wazazi sasa wanasema huenda likizo hiyo ikaathiri hali ya masomo humu nchini. Huko Naivasha, wazazi wanahoji ni kwa nini shule za umma hutumiwa kama vituo vya kupigia kura.
Unakuta ya kwamba unarudishwa tena uweza kulipia huyo mtoto shule, na unakuta ya kwamba gharama hairudi chini. Unakuta ya kwamba maisha inaendelea kuongezeka, hata kama ni school fees unaambiwa tu hautapunguziwa. Kwa hivyo kama serikali na kama idara ya elimu inaweza kutengeneza mambo yaweze kurudi vile ilikuwa, maybe kuanzia next year inaweza kuwa ni mzuri.
Wewe kama mzazi hauna hiyo time ya kuplan. Hebu imagine kama uko na watoto watatu na kila mwezi unafaa kulipia watoto watatu wote school fees. Utaweza kweli? So I think pia hapo wakati tulikuwa tunalipa kama miezi mitatu, unapewa grace period ya kujipanga. Unajipanga na pesa yako. Income ni kidogo, alafu expenditure ni kubwa. So unajipata huwezi pata hiyo limit ya kulipa school fees in the time. Huwezi.
Naye mkurugenzi wa elimu katika eneo la Rift Valley, Jared Obiero, amewahakikishia wazazi na wanafunzi kwamba walimu wako tayari kuhakikisha mtaala wa masomo unazingatiwa ipasavyo.
We all know it's a short time, but we are up to the task. You remember how we managed to recover the time we lost when we resumed after COVID, and we still have that confidence and that energy to ensure that we'll cover the syllabus and catch up with the time that we lost.
Eneo hilo lina zaidi ya shule 8,000. Uchunguzi wetu hapa Channel 1 umebainisha kwamba shule nyingi mjini Nakuru na viunga vyake zilifunguliwa ipasavyo na masomo kuanza katika shule za kutwa. Joan Wangare, Darubini.
Asante Joan Wangari. Tunasalia kwenye masuala ya elimu ambapo waziri wa elimu Profesa George Magoha ametoa wito kwa wazazi na walimu kuwaongoza wanafunzi wa gredi ya 6 wanapochagua shule za junior secondary ambazo watajiunga nazo.
Na kama anavyotueleza hivi sasa mwenzangu Beatrice Gatonye Ngetish ni kwamba Magoha amesema wazazi hao ambao hawataki watoto wao wajiunge na shule zilizoko mbali wanaweza kuchagua shule zilizo karibu.
Waziri wa elimu Profesa George Magoha aliyekuwa katika kaunti ya Kiambu kuzindua ujenzi wa madarasa ya junior secondary alisema mfumo wa kimtandao wa kuchagua shule za umma tayari umefunguliwa kwa wanafunzi kutoka shule za umma na za kibinafsi ili waweze kuchagua shule za sekondari wanazotaka.
Don't rush to take your child to Alliance High School, because even if you take the child there in junior high school, there is no guarantee that the child will remain there. Because when we get to year 9 now, we'll go again to the public, and now it will be the cutthroats. Do you understand? So that is when you now target where you want your child to go to the senior school.
Alisema wazazi wana jukumu la kuwaongoza watoto wao wanapochagua shule hizo, akiongeza kuwa wazazi wasiotaka watoto wao wapelekwe katika shule zilizoko mbali wanaweza kuchagua shule zilizo karibu nao.
Please take time to engage your child and decide where you want the child to go to. It is not the time to say, no, I want my child to go to Kenya High School. That one can wait. That one can wait for until year 9. What we are trying to say is that the majority of the children, even more than it is now, will be day scholars. Right now, 75% of the children are day scholars. But we are hoping that in this junior high school, it can go even up to 80%.
Kadhalika, alisema 80% ya madarasa kwenye shule za junior secondary yamekamilika na kuongeza kuwa 20% iliyosalia ya madarasa yatakamilishwa kabla ya wanafunzi hao kukamilisha masomo yao ya gredi ya 6.
And it shall be met. And that target is another 1,000 classrooms or so scattered across the country. Like I've said, the Nyanza region, the northeastern region, the central region are doing extremely well.
Hata hivyo, alisema shule nyingi katika maeneo ya magharibi, Pwani na Nairobi bado hazijakamilisha ujenzi wa madarasa hayo. Alisema serikali mpya ijayo itapata kila kitu kishwari tayari kwa mpito wa wanafunzi hao mwishoni mwa kalenda ya shule mwaka huu.
Na mtu mmoja aliaga dunia na wengine kadhaa kujeruhiwa kufuatia ajali katika eneo la Kambiti kwenye barabara ya kutoka Makuyu kuelekea Sagana.
Kwa mujibu wa kamanda wa polisi eneo la Maragwa Alexander Shikondi, na walioshuhudia ajali hiyo iliyotokea baada ya dereva wa lori lililokuwa likisafirisha mapipa ya pombe kutoka Thika hadi Sagana kushindwa kulidhibiti na kukosa mwelekeo na kugonga ng'ombe kabla ya kuligonga lori, matatu 2 na magari matatu ya kibinafsi.
Dereva wa lori hilo na wanafunzi 8 waliojeruhiwa wamelazwa katika hospitali ya Murang'a level 5.
Ni lori ya pombe tunasikia ilikatalia breki huko juu. Mwanzo ikagonga ng'ombe na ikakuja kwa hii diversion, ikapita kwa hii mawe imefunga njia. Ikakuja kaa imepita na hiyo mawe yote. Ndio ikakuja ikagonga gari kaa 3 hapa hivi na singine zikagongana hapa. Ndio mimi ile person ilikuwa pande ile ndio iligongwa. Na hiyo lori ya pombe vile niliona mimi nikaiondokea, ikakuja kaa imenigonga na upande.
Kuna gari imekuja ikakatika brake, ikagonga hadi ng'ombe. Ikakuja ikakatika breki ikagonga hadi hizi magari mnaona hapa hivi za shule, ikaumiza watoto wa shule. Kwa hivyo tunauliza tunaweza kwa bump hapa na road sign ya kuonyesha hapa kwa hii kona. Juzi mara ya kwanza gari kuanguka hapa, hata kuna nyingine ilikuwa imeanguka hapa hivi ya mahindi.
Naam, Rais Uhuru Kenyatta amesema Kenya itasimama kidete kufanikisha uongozi bora ili kuhakikisha nchi hii inadumisha nafasi yake kuwa kielelezo bora cha demokrasia barani Afrika wakati wa kipindi cha mpito. Kiongozi wa taifa alisema hayo aliposhauriana na seneta wa Marekani aliyeziarani humu nchini Chris Coons.
Sijui nimesoma nini.
Lakini yani ulirekebisha.
Nimerekebisha nikajichanganya.
Inakuanga tricky kubadilisha hizo nini. Na Baraza la Kitaifa la Mashirika Yasiyo ya Kiserikali limewapongeza Wakenya kwa kudumisha amani wakati wa uchaguzi. Mwenyekiti wa baraza hilo Stephen Cheboy amesema kuwa wao walitekeleza jukumu lao la kutetea amani kabla ya uchaguzi huo na wataendelea kushauriana na viongozi wa kisiasa kuhubiri amani nchi hii inapopiga hatua mbele.
Isiwe sherehe ya kuudhi wengine, isiwe ni sherehe ya kusumbua wengine, isiwe sherehe ya kuleta kero kwa wengine. Hiyo itakuwa dhambi. Tufanye mambo kulingana na taratibu za sheria ambazo tumepewa.
Na mtazamaji, taarifa hiyo inatukamilishia awamu ya kwanza ya taarifa hizi za Darubini ya Channel 1. Tupate matangazo ya kibiashara kutoka upande wa pili wa studio, alafu utarejea na taarifa zaidi.
Usiende mbali.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723-892-654 or 0734-780-124.
Fanya hivi, nitatoa 100 yangu hapa hivi, utapitia baadaye pale kantini uchukue change.
Ndio hii 100, chukua hii 100. I will not let you sisters of Delilah to trick me to tell you something that you shouldn't know even at the first place.
Oh wow, it has come to this, huh? Girls, did you hear what we are now?
Omera, you cannot allow yourself to be humiliated like that. No man should ever bend low. Don't do it.
Beg yourself for what? Huh? I am in no mood for your games, Fala. Of course, I have begged myself for transport.
You should realize you haven't won the support of the whole clan.
The king is doing this for your own safety. If what Lily said is really true, and that she really was set up by somebody today, you could be in danger yourself.
Who's there? Lady Suzanne.
I tried to protect her, just for you. I thought you'd understand. If she wasn't pregnant with your child.
Karibu mtazamaji. Mwanamume mmoja mwenye umri wa miaka 32 katika kaunti ya Wajir aliyekuwa afisa wa tume huru ya uchaguzi na mipaka IEBC kwenye uchaguzi mkuu uliokamilika hivi punde na ambaye alipigwa risasi mguuni anaomba atendewe haki.
Mohamed Ahmed Kanyare aliyekuwa akisimamia kituo cha kupigia kura katika eneo bunge la Eldas alisema alipigwa risasi na mtu asiyejulikana kwenye ukumbi wakati wa kujumlisha kura, lakini hakuna yeyote aliyekamatwa kufikia sasa.
Madaktari wanasema kuwa huenda Ahmed akalazimika kukatwa mguu kutokana na majeraha mabaya aliyoyapata.
Katika hospitali ya matibabu maalum ya kaunti ya Wajir, Mohamed Ahmed Kanyare anaendelea kupata nafuu. Alipigwa risasi mguuni na mtu ambaye bado hajajulikana.
Some officers came to the room ordering the light to be switched off and everybody to lie down. Since it was near the podium where the electoral officials and the officers were sitting, I took a few steps back and lay down. An officer came from nowhere, shot at me, and left me crying for help.
Ahmed anasema kuwa mshambulizi alimlenga kwani chumbani alimokuwa mlikuwa na watu kadhaa.
And specifically why me, I don't know. Who I wronged, I don't know. But it was a targeted incident that I want justice.
Afisa mkuu wa hospitali ya matibabu maalum ya kaunti ya Wajir, Dr. Mohamed Bashir, amesema kuwa Ahmed alipata majeraha kadhaa.
It is multiple gunshot injuries on the same behind the right knee. The bone was shattered and also there was a vascular injury of the poplite. The major artery that supplies the lower leg was severed.
Majeraha hayo ni mabaya kiasi cha kwamba madaktari wanapendekeza kwamba akatwe mguu, lakini familia yake bado inachelea.
I feel pain. I feel hurt.
Ahmed na familia yake imesema kuwa hakuna yeyote aliyekamatwa kufikia sasa. Uchaguzi katika eneo bunge la Eldas ulisitishwa tarehe 9 mwezi huu na kuandaliwa siku moja baadaye kufuatia ghasia zilizozuka kutokana na mzozo kuhusu jinsi tume ya IEBC ilivyoajiri maafisa wa vituo vya kupigia kura na manaibu wao. Kamchemenza, Darubini.
Tukichana na taarifa yake Kamchemenza, shirika la maendeleo ya wanawake limewapongeza wanawake waliotafuta nyadhifa za uongozi na kushinda kwenye uchaguzi mkuu.
Mwenyekiti wa shirika hilo Rahab Muiwa alisema kuwa kuchaguliwa kwa magavana 8 kutoka 3 awali pamoja na nyadhifa nyingine wakiwemo wabunge wa bunge la kitaifa na mabunge ya kaunti zilizoshindwa. Mwenyekiti wa shirika hilo Rahab Muiwa alisema kuwa kuchaguliwa kwa magavana 8 kutoka 3 awali pamoja na nyadhifa nyingine wakiwemo wabunge wa bunge la kitaifa na mabunge ya kaunti zilizoshindwa na wasiasa wanawake ni hatua muhimu katika kuimarisha ushiriki wa wanawake katika mabunge yote mawili.
Muiwa wakati huo aliyeshukuru mashirika ya kiusalama kwa kuwalinda kikamilifu wagombeaji na wapiga kura katika kipindi cha uchaguzi.
In 2017, we were able to get quite many MCAs, 3 governors. But after these elections, we've done pretty well. We have been able to get 7 governors from 3, single constituencies 26 from 23. Again, the 47 women representatives. We are not forgetting the MCAs. It is indeed a significant step towards the Kenyan women participation in the two houses. Maiwo has come around. During the 70 years, there are times we have to make bold decisions. And this particular time, we want to say we have always supported the government, and we will continue to do so. You are very clear, according to you, that my choice did not succeed. I have said, when the country settles down, we shall come back here and talk. I represent very many women. I have listened to them thinking that we've been a bit quiet, and I have come here to say the few things I have said. So when the country settles down, we shall talk.
Na ugavana katika kaunti ya Mombasa wanalalamikia hatua ya tume ya IEBC ya kuahirisha uchaguzi wa ugavana kwa muda usiojulikana.
Wakiandamana na viongozi wengine wa kisiasa wa kaunti hiyo, wawaniaji hao wamedai kwamba sababu zilizotolewa na tume hiyo za kuahirisha uchaguzi huo hazina msingi na kwamba si za kikatiba.
Wanasema eneo hilo limekuwa na utulivu na hakuna visa ambavyo vinaweza kusababisha hofu miongoni mwa maafisa wa tume hiyo.
Leo asubuhi katika mahakama ya Mombasa, wafuasi wa mwaniaji ugavana wa chama cha ODM Abdul Swamad Sharif Nasir waliandamana kulalamikia kuahirishwa kwa uchaguzi wa gavana kutokana na kile tume ya IEBC ilichokitaja kuwa sababu za kiusalama. Nasir anadai kuwa hatua hiyo inahujumu azma yake.
Wenzetu wameandika mabarua na kusema kuwa wanataka wale staff wa IEBC kubadilishwa, wabadilishe mnaowataka, lakini tunataka elections iwe kesho. Hapa Mombasa kumekuwa na amani. Hakuna hata mfanyakazi mmoja wa IEBC ambaye kwamba ametishwa kwa njia yoyote. Wasitujaribu. Wacha mambo ya Jumanne. Tuko tayari, watupatie kura kesho tuko tayari sisi.
Kuna deliberate effort ya kutaka kutufrustrate sisi watu wa Mombasa.
Hakuna sababu yoyote ya kisheria au sababu yote nyingine kwa nini wanachelewesha hii election.
Tuko na subra na tumesema tuweke amani, lakini don't provoke us. Don't provoke the residents of Mombasa County. We demand our democratic rights.
Mwenzake wa chama cha UDA Hassan Omar kwa upande wake alisema kuahirishwa kwa uchaguzi huo kuna gharama kubwa. Aliunga mkono rufaa iliyowasilishwa mahakama na watu watatu kupinga hatua hiyo ya IEBC.
Tunaomba Mungu hiyo koti ikubali hiyo tarehe 23. Manake huu ni uchaguzi kwenda kushinda na 80%. Hatuna sababu yoyote sisi kutotaka kwenda uchaguzi tarehe 23.
Watatu hao, Thani Mohamed Momlavia, Moses Aran Orindo na Kevin Nzuki Mudhini, wanadai kwamba kuahirishwa kwa uchaguzi huo kwa mara ya pili ni sawa na kuwanyima wakazi wa Mombasa haki yao ya kidemokrasia. Wanataka uchaguzi huo uandaliwe ifikapo tarehe 23 mwezi huu.
Wagombea wametumia pesa, wagombea wametumia emotional capital. J, is that considered when people make such decisions?
Economic Mombasa is going to go down. There's nobody managing our resources. The term is already expired. We are not being told the interim committee is going to take over Mombasa to run it. So it's very sad.
Wawaniaji hao hata hivyo wamewahimiza wafuasi wao kudumisha amani. Juni Karisa Mbele nikiripoti kutoka kaunti ya Mombasa.
Hamna amani tena, kwani kwa Laba na Hana kuna panda shuka si haba.
Mtoto wangu hataona psychiatrist yoyote.
Shut up! Kelsey naye ni pilipili kali wa pili.
Sitaki kumuona kesi nyumbani kwangu. Period.
Jackie huyo anajaribu vyake kwa kati.
Nilikwambia nitakuharibu uso wako. Ndio unajua kwamba uhalifu ukufai.
Safari na Kahindi wanazo ngoma si haba.
Nyinyi kuna nini?
Huyu kaende alisema tatila somo kwenye chakula.
Yote hayani katika tamthilia ya Maza. Fululiza Jumanne hadi Alhamisi saa 1:30.
Na mtazamaji, karibu sasa kwa taarifa za biashara. Mwenzangu Ahmed Jumabalo atakuwa akikuletea zile za viwanjani na kisha baadaye tusome mawili matatu kwenye lugha ya ishara. Bei za kahawa ama bei ya kahawa imeongezeka kwa 4% kwenye mnada wa kahawa wa Nairobi, huku gunia la kahawa la uzani wa kilo 50 likiuzwa kwa bei ya wastani ya shilingi 32,249. Kahawa ya kiwango cha juu zaidi inauzwa kwa shilingi 798 na senti 49 kwa kilo moja.
Wakulima wa kahawa watapata mapato zaidi kutokana na zao lao kulingana na takwimu za hivi punde kutoka kwa soko la mauzo ya kahawa la Nairobi. Gunia la uzani wa kilo 50 la kahawa bora zaidi ya kiwango cha AA linauzwa kwa shilingi 40,103, huku magunia 1,401 yaliyowasilishwa kwenye mnada huo yakiwapa wakulima shilingi milioni 65. Kahawa ya gredi ya Aba ndio iliyouzwa zaidi, ambapo magunia 6,834 iliwapa wakulima shilingi milioni 294. Kahawa ya gredi ya Cha ndio ya pili kuuzwa zaidi kwenye mnada huo, ambapo magunia 5,008 ya kilo 90 yaliwapa wakulima shilingi milioni 191. Kahawa ya gredi ya ML ndio iliyouzwa kwa kiwango cha chini zaidi kwenye mnada huo, huku magunia 30 pekee ya kahawa bora ya kiwango cha juu zaidi yakiuzwa kwa shilingi 19,754 kwa kila dunia na kuwapa wakulima shilingi 515,084. Hali ya kudumisha bei za juu katika soko hilo imetokana na hitaji la kiwango cha juu la watayarishaji kahawa ambao waliendeleza biashara yao hata wakati wa kipindi cha uchaguzi. Soko hilo limesema kiwango cha ubora wa mbinu za kahawa katika msimu wa pili wa mavuno ni cha juu na bei hizo za juu zitadumishwa. Kwa jumla, takwimu za hivi punde zinaashiria kuwa kufikia tarehe 16 mwezi huu, jumla ya magunia 15,823 ya kahawa yaliuzwa kwenye soko la kahawa la Nairobi kwa bei ya wastani ya shilingi 32,350 na kuwapa wakulima shilingi milioni 630. Mapema mwezi huu, bei ya kahawa ilipungua hadi shilingi 31,059 kwa gunia la kilo 50, huku magunia 18,467 yakiuzwa na kuwapa wakulima shilingi milioni 709.
Tukiachana na taarifa hiyo, tawi la Mombasa la chama cha wenye biashara na viwanda humu nchini limetoa wito kwa wenye biashara kurejelea shughuli zao za kawaida baada ya kutangazwa kwa matokeo ya kura za urais. Chama hicho kupitia bodi yake ya wakurugenzi kimesema uchumi umedorora kutokana na vita baina ya Russia na Ukraine pamoja na athari za janga la COVID-19 ambavyo vimechangia mfumuko wa bei.
Hali ya kawaida imerejea humu nchini huku shule zikifunguliwa pamoja na biashara, kulingana na uchunguzi uliofanywa na shirika la KBC jijini Nairobi. Hali ni hiyo hiyo katika miji mingine kama vile Mombasa, Kisumu, Nakuru, huku kufunguliwa tena kwa shule kukipiga jeki shughuli za biashara. Licha ya hayo, chama cha wenye biashara na viwanda humu nchini kimewataka wenye biashara kurejea shughuli zao za kawaida, kikisema nchi hii haiwezi kustahimili changamoto zilizoshuhudiwa katika muda wa wiki 2 zilizopita wakati wa kipindi cha uchaguzi.
We therefore appeal to the citizens and the business community of Mombasa to resume their normal daily activities Following the conclusion,
chama hicho kimesema kuwa shughuli za biashara zilidodora kutokana na uvamizi wa Russia nchini Ukraine, athari za janga la COVID-19 na hali ya kutodhibitika wakati wa kipindi cha kampeni za uchaguzi. Maafisa wa chama hicho wamewapongeza Wakenya kwa kudumisha amani wakati wa kampeni za uchaguzi, jambo lilojenga imani ya wawekezaji. Maafisa hao wanatumaini kuwa serikali mpya ijayo itabuni sera za kuimarisha makuzi ya biashara.
In a nutshell, what do we expect? We expect a government that involves us in the process of policy making that will spark growth and business within the region and the country at large.
Kuhusu miradi ya muundo msingi kama vile barabara kuu ya Dongo Kundu na kubuniwa kwa maeneo maalum ya kiuchumi, maafisa hao wanataka miradi hiyo ikamilishwe katika muda uliowekwa.
We expect the incoming government, whichever it will be, after the final rounds of disputes and anything else is done, we expect the incoming government to be able to put policies in place that will be able to open up the environment for good business to thrive. We'll be expecting this government to ensure that Dongo Kundu, the special economic zone, is working. We'd be expecting this government to ensure that the businesses that were suffering as a result of COVID or any other measures negative have been restored to work.
Aidha, wanatumaini kuwa serikali mpya ijayo itabuni sera mwafaka kuhusu ushuru. Nikiripotia Darubini, jina langu ni Caroline Jenga.
Tukisonga mbele, benki ya Stanbic ilipata faida ya shilingi bilioni 4.8 katika muda wa miezi 6 ya kwanza mwaka huu, hilo likiwa ni ongezeko la 37%. Benki hiyo imesema ongezeko hilo ni faida ambayo imetokana na utumizi wa teknolojia, ambapo 90% ya akaunti zilifunguliwa kwenye benki hiyo kwa njia ya kidijitali.
Benki ya Stanbic ambayo inaendesha shughuli zake nchini Kenya na Sudan Kusini imesema ongezeko hili la faida limetokana na mikataba ya ushirikiano na mashauriano baina ya wadau. Benki hiyo imesema hatua ya kuangaziwa ustawi wa kijamii na kiuchumi ilisaidia kuboresha kiwango cha kujumuika na wafanyabiashara ndogo kote nchini na kuwezesha biashara hizo kushirikishwa katika huduma za kifedha kupitia mipango ya utoaji mafunzo. Benki hiyo imesema mazingira ya kibiashara ni magumu kutokana na misukosuko ya kisiasa humu nchini, pamoja na vita baina ya Ukraine na Urusi, ongezeko la mfumuko wa bei na athari za janga la COVID-19. Licha ya hali hii, idadi ya wateja iliongezeka kwa 39% katika kipindi cha miezi 6 ya kwanza mwaka huu. Afisa mkuu mtendaji wa benki ya Stanbic, Charles Mudiwa, amesema mkakati wa benki hiyo unategemea juhudi za kuboresha huduma kwa wateja. Mikopo kwa wateja iliongezeka kwa 31% kufikia shilingi bilioni 217, huku kiwango cha mapato kikiongezeka kwa 21%. Kiwango cha mikopo ya benki hiyo kimeboreka, hali ambayo inadhibitishwa na hali ya kupungua kwa hasara kutokana na mikopo katika kipindi cha nusu ya kwanza ya mwaka 2022 kutoka 1.64 kwenye kipindi sawia mwaka uliopita. Benki ya Stanbic inapanga kuangazia juhudi za kuimarisha uhusiano na wateja na kuboresha utoaji huduma zake.
Na mtazamaji, hapo ndipo tunafika mwisho wa taarifa zetu za biashara. Mwenzangu Ahmed Jumabala atakuwa akikuletea zile za spoti. Hapo mwishoni, lugha ishara, usiende mbali.
Fanya hivi, nitatoa 100 yangu hapa hivi, utapitia baadaye pale kantini uchukue change. Ndio hii 100, chukua hii 100 basi.
I will not let you sisters of Delilah to trick me to tell you something that you shouldn't know even at the first place.
Oh wow, it has come to this, huh? Girls, did you hear what we are now?
Omera, you cannot allow yourself to be humiliated like that. No man should ever bend low. Don't do it. Beg yourself for what? Huh? I am in no mood for your games, fella.
Of course, I have begged myself for transport.
you should realize you haven't won the support of the whole clan.
The king is doing this for your own safety. If what Lily said is really true, and that she really was set up by somebody today, you could be in danger yourself.
Who's there? Lady Suzanne?
I tried to protect her, just for you. I thought you'd understand. If she wasn't pregnant with your child.
Na mpenzi wa spoti, sasa ni zamu yako. Karibu katika taarifa za michezo. Mchezaji tenisi chipukizi Angela Okutoi ametajwa mwanamichezo bora wa mwezi Julai na chama cha wanahabari wa michezo humu nchini SJAC. Okutoi mwenye umri wa miaka 18 alituzwa kwa kuwa Mkenya wa kwanza kushinda mashindano ya Grand Slam baada ya kuibuka mshindi kwenye mashindano ya Wimbledon ya wachezaji wawili tarehe 9 mwezi Julai nchini Uingereza. Okutoi sasa ndiye Mkenya wa kwanza kushinda tuzo hiyo ya LGS Jack ya kila mwezi mara 3 mfululizo.
Angela Okutoi aliweka historia ya kuwa Mkenya wa kwanza kushinda mashindano ya Grand Slam alipoibuka mshindi kwenye mashindano ya Wimbledon ya wachezaji wawili mwezi uliopita. Okutoi na mwenzake Rosemary Nijkamp kutoka Uholanzi waliwapiku Kayla Cross na Victoria Mboko kutoka Canada na kunyakua ubingwa huo. Aidha, Okutoi amewapiku Ferdinand Omanyala, Faith Kipyegon na Emmanuel Koril na kunyakua tuzo hiyo ya kila mwezi.
I'm really grateful to have won this 3 times now. 2 times absent, and now this is my first time present in this presentation, so it's a really good thing, and I hope to come back here for the 4th one.
Wengine walioorodheshwa ni wachezaji raga wa timu ya Menengai Oilers Dennis Abukuse, mnyanyuaji uzani Helen Wawira na chipukizi wa mchezo wa chess Winnie Kaburo Mutoni.
Well, I don't take it as a warm-up tournament. I take it as also a tournament, so I'm really looking forward to do great there, to get the confidence that I can also do good in singles, not only doubles.
Out there to all the people supporting the sportswomen and sportsmen in Kenya, I think this girl has made it known that it is possible.
Kingori Mwangi, Darubini Michezo.
Na mshikilizi wa rekodi ya Afrika kwenye mbio za mita 100 kwa wanaume Ferdinand Omanyala ameimarisha mazoezi yake kabla ya kusafiri kuelekea nchini Italia kushiriki mashindano ya Continental Tour yatakayoandaliwa mwezi Septemba mwaka huu. Omanyala ambaye amekuwa na msimu bora ameelezea kuwa ataendelea kujitahidi vilivyo ili kuandikisha matokeo bora. Aidha, Omanyala amesisitiza kuwa lengo lake kuu ni kushinda nishani kwenye michezo ya Olimpiki mwaka 2024 mjini Paris nchini Ufaransa. Omanyala alitwaa nishani ya dhahabu kwenye mashindano ya Jumuiya ya Madola yaliyoandaliwa Birmingham na pia kusaidia kikosi cha mbio za mita 100 kwa wanariadha 4 kupokezana kijiti kufuzu kwa fainali. Omanyala ataondoka nchini tarehe 24 mwezi huu kuelekea nchini Italia. Wolverhampton imemsajili kiungo wa Sporting Lisbon na Ureno Matheus Nunes kwa pauni milioni 38. Nunes mwenye umri wa miaka 23 ametia saini kandarasi ya miaka 5. Nunes aliyezaliwa Rio de Janeiro nchini Brazil alijiunga na Sporting mwaka 2019 na kucheza mechi 101. Nunes ameichezea Ureno mara 8 na anatarajiwa kujumuishwa kwenye kikosi kitakachoshiriki kombe la dunia mwaka huu nchini Qatar. Wolves imeanza msimu mpya wa ligi kuu kwa kushindwa mabao 2-1 na Leeds United katika uwanja wa Elland Road na kutoka sare tasa nyumbani dhidi ya Fulham. Vijana hao wa kocha Bruno Lage watamenyana na Tottenham ugenini Jumamosi hii kwenye mchuano wa ligi kuu nchini Uingereza.
Mtazamaji, kabla ya kuelekea darasani kujifunza mawili matatu kwenye lugha ya ishara, tuangazie taarifa ifuatayo. Wagombeaji wawili wakuu wa kiti cha ugavana katika kaunti ya Kakamega wametofautiana kuhusu hatua ya IEBC ya kuahirisha kwa mara ya pili uchaguzi katika eneo hilo. Mgombeaji wa muungano wa Azimio la Umoja One Kenya, Fernandez Barasa, ametaja uamuzi huo kuwa unaokiuka katiba na akasema hatawasilisha kesi mahakamani kutokana na suala hilo, huku wa upande mwingine mgombeaji wa Kenya Kwanza Cleophas Malala akiunga mkono hatua ya tume ya IEBC. Haya yanajiri huku wakazi wakiandamana kulalamika kutokana na hatua hiyo.
Nasimamia uchaguzi Kakamega County, sio Chebukati. Ni county returning officer. Na ametuelezea ya kwamba kila kitu iko tayari. Ballot papers zishakuwa printed. Aende tena recruit returning officers. He's not going to recruit presiding officers. Na clerks wako hapa. So county returning officer, yeye ako tayari to conduct elections in Kakamega.
Our individual aspirations cannot supersede the interest of our country. And therefore we are saying that there is no hurry. So long as we have peace in Kenya, so long as we achieve tranquility in our country, we can hold elections at any time when IBC thinks that it is appropriate to have elections in Kakamega.
Tujue ni sababu gani? Kwa sababu all aspirants wote wako alive, hakuna mwenye amekufa, hakuna, tuko na security ya kutosha, hakuna national calamity atasema imefanya ameharisha election. Tunamuomba atuaje tuchague viongozi wenye tulikuwa tumepanga kuchagua.
Kakamega tuko tayari kupiga kura kuchagua gavana wetu ambaye atatufanyia kazi. Bwana Chebukati, turuhusu usichezee wakazi wa Kakamega County. We are ready to vote for governor to work for us.
Na kiongozi wa muungano wa Azimio la Umoja Raila Odinga amepata pigo jingine baada ya mmoja wa vinara wa muungano huo Ali Roba wa chama cha United Democratic Movement UDM kuugura muungano huo na kujiunga na mrengo wa Kenya Kwanza.
Roba aliandamana na wabunge 7 waliochaguliwa kwenye hatua ambayo itaongeza ubabe wa Kenya Kwanza bungeni.
Baada ya kukosa kupata wabunge wengi wa bunge la kitaifa, Rais mteule William Ruto sasa anawavutia wabunge zaidi ili kuhakikisha ana idadi inayohitajika kuweza kushinikiza ajenda ya serikali yake bungeni. Leo alipokea wabunge 7 wa chama cha UDM waliohama kutoka muungano wa Azimio na kujiunga na muungano wa Kenya Kwanza. Katika makazi yake ya Karen, Rais mteule Dr. William Ruto alimkaribisha kiongozi wa chama cha UDM aliyepia seneta mteule wa kaunti ya Mandera Ali Roba, naibu kiongozi wa chama hicho aliyepia gavana mteule wa kaunti ya Marsabit Mohamud Ali na gavana mteule wa Mandera Mohamed Adan Khalif kwa serikali mpya ya Kenya Kwanza. Wengine waliojiunga na Kenya Kwanza ni pamoja na naibu gavana mteule wa kaunti ya Mandera Ali Maalim, seneta mteule wa Wajir Abbas Sheikh, baada ya
zimechanganyika hapo kidogo.
Pako nauliza kunaendaje, sio? Sasa ni wakati wa kuingia darasani baada ya kumaliza uchaguzi. Waziri Magoha akasema shule zifunguliwe na sisi tumefungua darasa letu la ishara hii leo hapa.
Kabisa kabisa. Unajua mimi nilikuwa katika maeneo ya Gatondo Kusini ambapo nilikuwa ninashughulikia habari kutoka eneo hilo. Na bila shaka uchaguzi uliendelea vizuri. Na sasa tuna rais mteule hapa nchini. Na darasa letu la kwanza hivi leo Balo, ningependa tujifunze rais mteule kwa jina ishara, kwa lugha ya ishara ni vipi? Kwa sababu tunajua rais. Rais. Na kama tujuavyo sasa hivi tuna rais,
tuna rais
mteule. Kwa hivyo tuna rais, na tunaposema Rais Uhuru Kenyatta tunamtambua kama Rais Uhuru. Rais Uhuru. Rais Uhuru. Haya, rais mteule. Rais mteule. Rais
tukiongezea na Ruto.
Tukisema ndiye William Ruto, jina lake la ishara ndo hivi.
Pua yani.
Alafu tuna naibu rais mteule Rigathi. Naibu rais mteule Rigathi.
Rais mteule ni pua na naibu wake
unatoa meno nje? Unatoa meno nje? Unafanya hivi. Rigathi.
Naam, shukran sana. Na mtazamaji, kufikia hapo hatuna la ziada. Ama utakuendelea?
Hata. Leo nimekuja nikisema wacha tujifunze, kwa sababu unajua unaweza dhani kwamba ishara ya rais na rais mteule ni sawa. Lakini sio sawa kama jinsi ambavyo tumeona. Ni rais na rais mteule.
Na kama sijakosea, kama mimi ni mwanafunzi mzuri, siku za nyuma ule kutufunza ile ishara ya upigaji kura. Nadhani ndio hiyo, sio rais mteule alichaguliwa
kwa kupiga kura kabisa. Atakapoapishwa awe rais kamili, basi tutasema rais William Ruto.
Nilikuwa nikirevise wakati ule huko darasani.
Sawa kabisa.
Na mtazamaji, kufikia hapo hatuna la ziada. Iwapo Mwenyezi Mungu ataridhia, basi inshallah tukutane wiki ijayo. Mimi naitwa Ahmed Jumabalo, ukipenda niite AJB. Assalamu alaikum.
Asante sana kwa muda wako. Tukutane wiki ijayo majaliwa. Imekuwa fahari yetu kukuletea Darubini. Jina langu ni Beatrice Getonya Ngetich. Usiku mwema.
We need numbers.
And I'm sure Dad is not supposed to find out about this.
No, not in this life.
How would you like coming to work here at JNJ?
Is Kathy in agreement with all of this?
I'm not answerable to her.
Why don't you want the same thing as your mother? How do I trust you?
I'll help you the board members.
How?
I'll call them one by one.
I may want to hire your cousin.
Wewe nakutambua.
Baadaye.
Juu hasa umepataka hiyo kazi, utanipatia 20%.
Kio hii usisemage mimi huwa sikujegi.
Wewe usifanye nikuwe tena wewe. Mimi nimepataka nikitaka kutoka ni sherehe kazi.
Must he be here?
Alafu utaniachia mlango, mimi nitafunga after meeting.
Wiki hii kwenye Mkulima tutajifunza jinsi ya kupima mchanga na umuhimu wake kabla ya kufanya upanzi.
Mkulima atutembelee ndio tumueleze kama mchanga yake iko na viini mbaya zile zinaweza dhuru mumea.
Ungana nasi Jumapili saa 9:30 hapa KBC Channel 1 kwa uondo kamili.
You took me to the cleaners. My house now belongs to the bank. My business, kaput.
The booze won't make you any better.
Lower the helm, or better still, lose the meaning.
Say I'm pathetic, but you're the pathetic one. Firing me because my brother dumped you for a better woman?
Would you like to scream some more?
Money talks.
Up to 1 million people live in Kibera slum alone, and many others in the forgotten settlements of Nairobi, including Mukuru, Korogosho, Mathare, and many others in less than 550 acres of land. Most earn barely enough to rent a mud-floored, tin-roofed wooden shack with no toilets or running water. The muddy alleys are strewn with litter and bags of human excrement. Brown streams of water contaminated by sewage trickle down in undefined paths. Residents' access to essential public services including water, electricity, public access roads, sanitation, garbage collection, healthcare and education is severely limited. Umande Trust, a rights-based agency which was registered in 2004, is an organization that is strategically investing in support of community-led initiatives, trying significantly to improve access to water and sanitation for all. Umande Trust partners with communities through funding from non-governmental organizations including Swedish International Development Cooperation Agency (SIDA) and United Nations Environmental Programme, among others, to promote active partnership with public, private and civil societies to scale up water and sanitation initiatives, the overall aim being to improve the access of the underserved to safe, adequate water and sanitation services. The organization laid a strategy of approaching social groups in the slums who own small pieces of land for the laying of their projects. The trust supports communities to improve on their knowledge and information and also to demand fairness, accountability and competent services for improved water and sanitation. Amongst their projects includes biosanitation. Biogas is a proven anaerobic digestion technology which transforms human waste into biogas and liquid fertilizer. Anecdotal evidence indicates that biogas was used for heating bath water in Assyria during the 10th century BC and in Persia during the 16th century BC.
This facility here, it's divided into compartments. One, we have got the toilet cubicles and the showers. So immediately how the facility functions in this line is that you go to the toilet cubicles, then you have the universal channel. This channel collects all the waste, the human waste, then channels them to a universal inlet, the dome. The dome has got three openings. One, we have got the inlet and the outlet, and the topmost part is the neck. So from the toilet cubicles, we have got the waste being channeled through a universal channel to the dome. And immediately it arrives into the dome, the biological process starts to occur, whereby the waste go under digestion. Then from this digestion is where we get the biogas starts to develop.
Biogas is generated when bacteria degrades biological material in the absence of oxygen in a process called anaerobic digestion. Anaerobic digestion is basically a simple process carried out in a number of steps that can use almost any organic material as a substrate. Humans tend to make the process as complicated as possible by trying to improve on the nature in complex machines.
Immediately after the development of the biogas, we got the topmost part where the gas collects. And the downer part we have got for the waste, which has more denser, settle at the bottom. Then at the middle we have got the slurry, which is in liquid form. Then at the top we have got the biogas. So from the top is where we channel the pipe. That connects where we can now use the gas, maybe to the households or even the neighborhood.
The biogas production is mainly used for cooking purposes. Biogas to some extent supersedes some other forms of cooking fuel such as wood or charcoal. Biogas requires less labor than tree felling, and this implies that trees can be retained. It is a quick, easily controlled fuel. It has no smoke or smell, thus reduces eye and respiratory irritation.
Actions and differences and balancing, we have the excess slurry taking part, moving out of the dome, then occupying the expansion chamber at the top part of the dome. Then from there, if that one is filled up, we have got a pipe, which is called an outlet pipe. This outlet pipe now the channels the slurry to where to another service facility, which in this case might be a septic tank, a holding tank, or a filter tank, a filter facility like this one of ours here, that is constructed here. So this one is divided into channels. We have the first compartment where we put a much older materials, like we might put ballast or hardcore. The purpose of these materials is to try to synthesize, because what we want to get is a pure material that when ejected to the environment becomes environmentally friendly. So from the first compartment we have got the ballast. Then from the ballast we have got a partition wall that separates the first compartment of the ballast and the one where we have got another finer material, which is sand. So the connection of the two is done using a pipe. It's a pipe which takes the slurry, then more now synthesized material, which now becomes more clear from the first compartment to where we have got the sand, which is somewhere here. That's where we have got this mantle. So from here, we have got the last compartment where we have got the charcoal dust to take the color of the slurry that comes out from there. Then the immediate post point outside, that one is a manhole where now the content of what is coming from the filter tank is checked from there. Then from there it's connected from outlet pipe that drains into the river.
The Biocenter prototypes are circular towers comprising of a ground floor toilets and showers, a first floor with meeting rooms, information resource centers, and a top floor with open sides and a simple thatched roof for the community meetings and functions. Sludge is a better fertilizer than manure or synthetic fertilizer and is cheaper than manufactured products. However, biogas production has its own disadvantages. Methane, which makes up 0 to 80% of biogas, forms explosive mixtures in air, the lower being 5% methane and the upper limit 15% methane. Biogas mixtures containing more than 50% methane are combustible, while lower percent may support or fuel combustion. With this in mind, no naked flames should be used in the vicinity of a biodigester, and electrical equipment must be of suitable quality. As biogas displaces air, it reduces the oxygen level, restricting respiration, and so any digester area needs to be well ventilated to minimize the risk of fire or explosion and suffocation. As anaerobic digestion relies on a mixed population of bacteria of largely unknown origin, care should be taken during the waste treatment process to avoid contact with the digester contents and to wash thoroughly after working around the digester area, particularly before eating or drinking. organizational structure, Omande Trust has adopted a less regimented and horizontal organization arrangement that provides immense opportunities for action, learning and innovation. With such projects actualizing, the problem of rise in energy prices, which has led to inflation in the country, will have been curbed.
In the past, we used to have these flying toilets, which will be something of the past now. The cost of electricity is quite very high. So when the project will start producing some gas, we shall be okay with it.
By mid-2008, Kenya's inflation rate was close to 30%, the highest in 15 years, and for a population still recovering from ethnic and political clashes, the prospects of economic slowdown due to inflation are likely to make life much harder. Communities should therefore embrace such projects in order to alleviate the rise of poverty.
Jumapili hii kwenye runinga ya KBC, ungana naye Askofu Michael Wanderi wa kanisa la Christian Foundation Fellowship Kiambu kuanzia saa 1 hadi saa 2 asubuhi.
Ningetaka nikwambie, our Jehovah God, because the Bible says he is the same yesterday, today and forevermore. He is able to take you to a place of abundance. He is able to take you to Rehoboth in the name of Jesus Christ.
Kipindi ni neno la neema, ukiletewa naye Askofu Michael Wanderi wa kanisa la Christian Foundation Fellowship Kiambu. Usikose.
My trust is in you.
Fanya hivi, nitatoa mia yangu hapa hivi, utapitia baadaye pale kantini uchukue change.
Ndio hii mia, chukua hii mia basi.
I will not let you sisters of Delilah to trick me to tell you something that you shouldn't know even at the first place.
Oh wow, it has come to this, huh? Girls, did you hear what we are now?
Omera, you cannot allow yourself to be humiliated like that. No man should ever bend low. Don't do it.
Beg yourself for what? Huh? I am in no mood for your games, Fala. Of course, I have begged myself for transport.
We need numbers.
And I'm sure Dad is not supposed to find out about this.
No, not in this life.
How would you like coming to work here at JNJ?
Is Kathy in agreement with all of this?
I'm not answerable to her.
Why don't you want the same thing as your mother? How do I trust you?
I'll help you, the board members.
How?
I'll call them one by one.
I may want to hire your cousin.
Wewe nakutambua.
Baadaye.
Juu sasa umepata hiyo kazi, utanipatia 20%.
Kio hii usisemage mimi huwa sikujegi.
Wewe usifanye nikuwe tena wewe. Mimi nimepata nikitaka kutoka ni sherehe kazi.
Must he be here? Alafu utaniachia mlango, mimi nitafunga after meeting.
Dare to leave me.
To get Nicene Creed as your skiza tune, dial *811 *961#.
We believe in one God, the Father, the Almighty, maker of heaven and earth and all that is seen and unseen. We believe in one Lord, Jesus Christ, the only Son of God, eternally begotten of the Father, God from God, light from light, true God from true God, begotten, not made. One.
To get Nicene Creed, dial *811 *961#. *811 *961#.
Mwezi mtukufu wa Muharram ambao ndio mwezi ambao tuko ndani yake sasa hivi ni mwezi ambao unahusika sana na ibada ya funga ya Tasua wa Ashura.
Una haki ya kuifunga siku kama hii, saumu ya Ashura, siku ambayo saumu ambayo kwamba ni bora. Ukifunga Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala anakusamia madhambi mengi.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim.
Peace and blessings be upon you. Ya Sayyidi, Ya Rasul. Feel so lost without you. I long for that day.
You got my gold. Mattress People's gold. And I'm coming to get that gold.
We'll see you in the ring.
Dare to leave me. Dare to leave me. Dare to leave me.
You took me to the cleaners. My house now belongs to the bank. My business, kaput.
The booze won't make you any better. Lower the helm, or better still, lose the mini.
Say I'm pathetic, but you're the pathetic one. Firing me because my brother dumped you for a better woman?
Would you like to scream some more?
Money talks.
Mwezi mtukufu wa Muharram ambao ndio mwezi ambao tuko ndani yake sasa hivi ni mwezi ambao unahusika sana na ibada ya funga ya Tasua wa Ashura.
Una haki ya kuifunga siku kama hii, saumu ya Ashura, siku ambayo saumu ambayo kwamba ni bora. Ukifunga Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala anakusamia madhambi mengi.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim.
Peace and blessings be upon you. Ya Sayyidi, Ya Rasul.
if yule mwanamke pale ameanza kujihusisha na mambo ya drugs, you can either sit down, consult with him, alafu baadaye unafanya assessment. Like, nani alimotivate, because you cannot intervene directly unless you know the root causes. Ufuatilie, ufanye assessment.
Watoto wetu wametumiwa sana. Na hakuna alikuwa anaweza, lazima uwe shujaa kusema kweli, kujitolea kwa kitu kama ni lazima uamini kufa na kupona.
Drug dependency treatment is helping them. For those who have come out that they need help, where do they go? We have a rehabilitation process.
Some turning points. Ya kwanza ilikuwa is my son, ambayo nilikuwa naona hiyo kitu itakuja kumaffect in future. Alafu the next ni my young brother, ambaye alikuja akaniambia, "Awe Musa, kwani ume lose hope in life, wewe ni aje?"
Welcome to Self-Care Tips. I am Irene Joroge, and we are lucky to have with us a hair specialist, Amina Mkala. Amina has gone through a journey of growing her hair, and she knows a lot about how to grow natural hair and also a hairstylist's inside secrets. So here we are, we're now in the inner circle of hair growth with a hairstylist. Amina, your hair has really grown. It looks fabulous. What do you do to make sure that your natural hair grows? Is there anything that you can apply on the scalp? What are the techniques for that?
Actually, I just apply natural oils.
Yes.
Like I can see what I'm holding, it's hair oil.
Yes. Oh, this looks like a cocktail.
Yeah. Okay, so like no need for you to apply the chemical oils, you just need to go all natural. If it's coconut or hair oil, it has to be like all natural.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're talking about by natural, you mean things like olive oil?
Yeah, olive,
we're talking of argan.
coconut, argan.
Now one thing about coconut is that I know there are different types of coconut. There's some which are quite processed and they contain chemicals, and there are others which are absolutely natural, like the ones for cooking. So which one is the best to apply? Or should you get the actual, should you squeeze a coconut and derive coconut oil from that?
Okay, the best one is the natural, the one for cooking. Yes. That's the best so far.
Cooking coconut oil. One thing I've noticed about your hair is that it's really soft. How do you manage to have it that way in the morning? Is there anything that you do at night that keeps it soft?
Okay, I get a lot of challenges in the morning.
Yes.
So what I usually do, at night before sleeping, I do the plaiting.
Yes.
Just like 4 bunches, you know. Then I wake up in the morning, I have to undo it and then comb it and apply the oil.
As simple as that?
Yeah, it's simple.
And one final thing, you'd mentioned to me earlier that you do get pressure from people and from the society to relax your hair.
Yeah.
How do you cope with that?
Oh, how do you manage your hair? You should do relaxer. But like, okay, it's difficult.
Yes.
But I just have to manage and stay because I love natural.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it looks really good. Keep it that way.
Yeah.
This has been Self-Care Tips, and we're learning how to grow our natural hair and also withstanding the pressure to relax your hair. If you don't want to, it is possible to keep your hair natural, soft, luscious, and growing long, just like Amina here. Thank you for watching. I am Irene Joroge.
Pete, ndio umekwambia nipigie simu niombe msamaha.
Forget I called. Shida gani kukataza kwenda kwa Christine usikiagi? Ona bala sasa.
Kuna mtu anakuanga side yangu kwa hii family.
Ukijana anatumia Gen vibaya sana.
You know, sometimes love can be blinding.
Unaweza ongea na yeye?
Mimi na Jane,
you know, I've always wanted a white wedding.
Are you even sure you love him?
What do you know about marriage na yakwata?
haiendi vizuri. Oh, Jane, you really don't know me.
Huyu msichana vile ni bad news. Si unajua familia vizuri ama umewasahau?
Najaribu kumuelewa kakake.
Nini nilikufanya ukoleka na dada? Ulikuwa unampenda?
Bado ninampenda. Sijaiwa cha kupenda babako.
Na unampendea nini?
Usinisumbulie mtoto, niko na mmoja, mimi sina watoto wengine nje.
Wewe ni mtu mzima sasa.
Kwa hivyo leo na kinyangarika tu chochote ndio ufurahi, si ndio?
You should realize you haven't won the support of the whole clan.
The king is doing this for your own safety. If what Lily said is really true, and that she really was set up by somebody today, you could be in danger yourself.
Who's there? Lady Suzanne.
I tried to protect her, just for you. I thought you'd understand. If she wasn't pregnant with your child.
Nyamai. Now, tonight we are still talking politics, and we have a story for you on Mr. Wafula Chebukati. I have to say, he has been the man of the hour for quite a long time. What does his journey look like? He will be revealing to us very shortly. And also in business, Stanbic performance is coming up, and in sports we will hit it off with Karen Kibet with all the action. But first, let's have the highlights. Harvest time, President-elect William Ruto's strength in Parliament gets a boost as Mandera Governor and 7 MPs ditch Azimio la Umoja for Kenya Kwanza. In education matters, schools reopen as learners prepare to transition to junior secondary schools. This is not right. 3 residents of Mombasa file a petition to compel IEBC to conduct postponed gubernatorial elections in Mombasa and Kakamega. Our sign language interpreter is Byron, and remember, would like to hear from you. If you have any story that you would like to share with us or any information, you can send us your comments on KBC Channel 1 on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Now, Azimio la Umoja leader Raila Odinga has suffered a huge blow after one of his principals, Ali Roba of the United Democratic Movement UDM party, joined the Kenya Kwanza Alliance. Roba tagged along 7 MPs in a move that bolsters President-elect William Ruto's strength in Parliament.
Smarting from the loss of garnering majority members in the National Assembly, President-elect Dr. William Ruto is now casting his net wide to ensure he has the requisite numbers to push his administration's legislative agenda. On Thursday, he received 7 United Democratic Movement UDM MPs who did Azimio to join Kenya Kwanza Alliance. At his current residence, President-elect Dr. William Ruto welcomed UDM party leader and Mandera Senator-elect Ali Roba, Deputy Party Leader and Marsabit Governor-elect Mohamud Ali, and Mandera Governor-elect Mohammed Adan Khalif to the incoming government. Others who have joined Kenya Kwanza include Mandera Deputy Governor-elect Ali Maalim, Wajir Senator-elect Abbas Sheikh, MPs Umul Khair Kasim of Mandera, Bashir Abdullahi of Mandera North, Kulou Hassan of Banisa, Joseph Lekuton of Laisamis, Mangale Munga of Lungalunga, Abdul and Rahim Haro of Mandera South, and Adan Haji of Mandera West. While receiving the leaders, Dr. Ruto lauded millions of Kenyans who voted in the August 9th poll, saying he will now focus on implementing his policies once sworn in. This comes barely a day after Ruto received 10 newly elected independent MPs who joined the Kenya Kwanza coalition.
President Uhuru Kenyatta says Kenya will remain steadfast in entrenching the principles of good governance to ensure the country upholds its position as an example in democracy in the continent by maintaining peace during this transition period. The head of state made the remarks when he held discussions with visiting U.S. Senator Chris Coons.
President Uhuru Kenyatta on Thursday met and held discussions with visiting U.S. Senator Chris Coons, who paid him a courtesy call at State House, Nairobi. Senator Coons, who is leading a congressional delegation of U.S. Senate and House representatives, commended President Kenyatta for ensuring peace and stability prevailed during the election period. On his part, President Kenyatta said, Kenya will remain steadfast in entrenching the principles of good governance to ensure the country upholds its position as an example of democracy in the continent by maintaining peace during this transition period. Later, the congressional delegation from the United States in the company of U.S. Ambassador to Kenya Meg Whitman held talks with President-elect Dr. William Ruto at his current office, Nairobi County. Discussions centered around the just concluded general election in the country as well as areas of cooperation between Kenya and the United States for the mutual benefits of citizens of the two countries. Senator Coons and his delegation also met Azimio la Umoja One Kenya presidential candidate Raila Odinga and his running mate Martha Karua. On his Twitter handle, Raila said the talks focused on developments around general election and bilateral relations with the congressional delegation of the U.S. Senate and House representatives. He reiterated commitment to pursue legal means to resolve issues around the election results. Raila has disputed the presidential results announced on Monday. For Prime Edition, I'm Ben Troy-Njue.
A section of parents whose children are attending public basic learning institutions want the government to in future establish alternative election polling centers. The parents spoke as learners reported back to school on Thursday after a 2 weeks midterm break, when the country held the general elections.
At the railways bus station in Nairobi, parents and students stranded from 5 a.m. due to confusion in booking seats in public service vehicles.
We were here by around 6, and the buses, some have left, some have not left. Actually, there's no bus as we're speaking now. So there are students who had been booked early in the morning, and they couldn't get, to go to the buses because they were full. So we are stranded. We are trying to work on how to, secure a bus for the children who are going to, some of those schools in Western.
It is the same script, different cast at Afya Center. The shortage of vehicles leading to scrambling and hiked fares.
Tangu tukuja hapa tumesimama sana, hakuna magari ya kwenda Kitui. Hata na leo ni siku ya kufungua shule na tuone dalili ya magari imekosa.
However, at the Green Park Termini, things appear to be more orderly with students boarding their respective school buses. The 2 weeks midterm break was occasioned by the general election. A section of parents interviewed fear it was too long and may impact academic progress. Sentiments echoed by parents in Naivasha who questioned the rationale of having public schools halting election polling stations.
Na tena unakuta ya kwamba unarudishwa tena kuweza kulipia huyo mtoto shule.
na unakuta ya kwamba gharama hairudi chini. Unakuta ya kwamba maisha inaendelea kuongezeka, hata kama ni school fees unaambiwa tu hautapunguziwa. Kwa hivyo kama serikali na kama idara ya elimu inaweza kutengeneza mambo yaweze kurudi vile ilikuwa, maybe kuanzia next year inaweza kuwa ni mzuri.
Wewe kama mzazi hauna hiyo time ya kuplan. Hebu imagine kama uko na watoto watatu na kila mwezi unafaa kulipia watoto watatu wote school fees, utaweza kweli? So I think pia hapo wakati tulikuwa tunalipa kama miezi mitatu, unapewa grace period ya kujipanga. Unajipanga na pesa yako. Income ni kidogo, alafu expenditure ni kubwa. So unajipata huwezi pata hiyo limit ya kulipa school fees in the time. Huwezi.
This as Rift Valley Regional Director of Education Jared Obiero assured parents and learners that schools are ready to ensure the second term syllabus is covered.
We all know it's a short term, but we are up to the task. You remember how we managed to recover the time we lost when we resumed after COVID, and we still have that confidence and that energy to ensure that we'll cover the syllabus and catch up with the time that we lost.
The region has over 8,000 schools. A spot check by KBC Channel 1 established that most schools in Nakuru City and its environs had already opened and learning had started in most of the day schools. For Channel 1, I'm Cheryl Abade.
Still on education matters, where Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha has called on parents and teachers to guide grade 6 learners who are yet to join junior secondary on the selection of their preferred schools. Magoha further also said parents have a free will in the choice of their children's schools.
The Education Cabinet Secretary, who was in Kiambu County to commission construction of classrooms for the junior secondary, said the portal for public schools selection is now open for both public and private learners to select their preferred schools.
Don't rush to take your child to Alliance High School, because even if you take the child there in junior high school, there is no guarantee that the child will remain there. Because when we get to year 9 now, we'll go again to the public, and now it will be the cutthroats. Do you understand? So that is when you now target where you want your child to go to the senior school.
He said parents have an obligation to guide their children in choosing their preferred schools, adding that those who want their children close to home for the next phase of their education can pick schools close to them.
Please take time to engage your child and decide where you want the child to go to. It is not the time to say, no, I want my child to go to Kenya High School. That one can wait. That one can wait for until year 9. What we are trying to say is that the majority of the children, even more than it is now, will be day scholars. Right now, 75% of the children are day scholars. But we are hoping that in this junior high school, it can go even up to 80%.
Magoha further noted that 80% of junior secondary classrooms are ready, adding that the remaining 20% will be done before the learners finish their grade 6 studies.
But we have a target to meet, and it shall be met. And that target is another 1,000 classrooms or so scattered across the country. Like I've said, the Nyanza region, the northeastern region, the central region are doing extremely well.
He, however, noted that most of the schools in Western, Coast and Nairobi regions are yet to meet the target of constructed CBC classrooms. He said the new administration will find ground set for the transition that will be taking place at the end of the school calendar this year. Beatrice Getonyenge-Tich, Prime Edition.
Back to politics now, where a section of gubernatorial candidates in Mombasa want the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission to rescind its indefinite postponement of the gubernatorial election in Mombasa County. Flanked by the political leadership of the coastal town, the contenders have separately claimed the grounds laid down by the commission to warrant the postponement are baseless and unconstitutional, arguing that the coastal town is yet to record any cases of insecurity and may instill fear in the commission. Our reporter Yune Karisa unfolds the happenings of the day.
Wednesday morning outside the Mombasa Law Courts,
Supporters of ODM gubernatorial candidate Abdul Swamad Sharif Nasir protest the postponement of the Mombasa gubernatorial election by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission over insecurity concerns. The former Mvita legislator claims the move is detrimental to his candidacy.
Wenzetu wameandika mabarua na kusema kuwa wanataka wale staff wa IBC kubadilishwa, wabadilishe mnao wataka, lakini tunataka elections ziwe kesho. Hapa Mombasa kumekuwa na amani. Hakuna hata mfanyakazi mmoja wa IBC ambaye kwamba ametishwa kwa njia yoyote. Wasitujaribu. Wacha mambo ya Jumanne. Tuko tayari, watupatie kura kesho tuko tayari sisi.
Kuna deliberate effort ya kutaka kutufrustrate sisi watu wa Mombasa.
Hakuna sababu yoyote ya kisheria au sababu yote nyingine kwa nini wanachelewesha hii election.
Tuko na subra na tumesema tuweke amani, lakini don't provoke us. Don't provoke the residents of Mombasa County. We demand our democratic rights.
His UDA counterpart Hassan Omar, on the other hand, termed the postponement as a costly affair. He backed a petition by 3 citizens challenging IBC postponement.
Tunaomba Mungu hiyo koti ikubali hiyo tarehe 23. Manake huu ni uchaguzi kwenda kushinda na 80%. Hatuna sababu yoyote sisi kutotaka kwenda uchaguzi tarehe 23.
The trio, Thani Muhammad Momlavia, Moses Aran Oindi, Kevin Nzuki Mudhini, argue that the postponement for the second time and without justified grounds amounted to the disenfranchisement of the electoral in Mombasa. They demanded that the election be held by the 30th of August this year.
Wagombea wametumia pesa. Wagombea wametumia emotional capital. Is that considered when people make such decisions?
Economic Mombasa is going to go down. There's nobody managing our resources. The term is already expired. We are not being told the interim committee is going to take over Mombasa to run it. So it's very sad.
In the meantime, the gubernatorial contestants have appealed to their supporters to uphold peace. Juni Karisa Mbele from Mombasa County.
The 2 main contenders for the Kakamega gubernatorial seat are divided over the move by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission to postpone for the second-time elections in the region. The Azimio la Umoja candidate Fernandez Baraza has stamped the decision as unconstitutional, saying he will seek legal redress, while the Kenya Kwanza candidate Cleophas Malala has backed the move by IBC. Residents of Kakamega held demonstrations to protest the move.
Fernandez Baraza of the Orange Democratic Movement, which is part of the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition, says the move to indefinitely postpone the Kakamega gubernatorial elections was unconstitutional and malicious.
Nasimamia uchaguzi Kakamega County sio Chebukati. Ni county returning officer. Na ametueleza ya kwamba kila kitu iko tayari. Ballot papers zishakuwa printed. Aende tena recruit returning officers. He's not going to recruit presiding officers. Na clerks wako hapa. So county returning officer, yeye ako tayari to conduct elections in Kakamega.
However, his rival Cleophas Malala of the Amani National Congress, which is under the Kenya Kwanza coalition, backs the decision by the Wafula Chebukati-led Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission, calling on his supporters to exercise patience.
Our individual aspirations cannot supersede the interest of our country, and therefore we are saying that there is no hurry. So long as we have peace in Kenya, so long as we achieve tranquility in our country, we can hold elections at any time when IBC thinks that it is appropriate to have elections in Kakamega.
However, the decision seems not to have gone down well with the electorate in Kakamega County. A section of them held demonstrations claiming the postponement of the elections was putting the region's activity at a standstill.
Tujui ni sababu gani? Kwa sababu all aspirants wote wako alive, hakuna mwenye amekufa, hakuna, tuko na security ya kutosha, hakuna national calamity atasema imefanya ameharisha election. Tunamuomba atuaje tuchague viongozi wenye tulikuwa tumepanga kuchagua.
Kazi wa Kakamega tuko tayari kupiga kura kuchagua gavana wetu ambaye atatufanyia kazi. Bwana Chebukati, turuhusu usichezee wakazi wa Kakamega County. We are ready to vote for governor to work for us.
For Prime Edition, I'm Zainab Said.
A 32-year-old man who was shot on the leg while working as a presiding officer in Wajir is pleading for justice. Mohammed Ahmed Kanyere, who was deployed at Tawhid polling station in Elders constituency, said he was shot by unknown person inside the polling hall during a vote tallying exercise. No arrests have been made so far, and according to doctors, Ahmed risks having his leg amputated due to the nature of the injuries he sustained.
At the Wajir County Referral Hospital, Mohammed Ahmed Kanyere is still recuperating. He was shot on his leg by a person whose identity is still unknown.
Some officers came to the room ordering the light to be switched off and everybody to lie down. Since it was near the podium where the electoral officials and the officers were sitting, I took a few steps back and lay down. An officer came from nowhere, shot at me, and left me crying for help.
Ahmed says the attacker targeted him as the room had a number of people inside.
And specifically why me, I don't know. Who I wronged, I don't know. But it was a targeted incident that I want justice.
Wajir County Referral Hospital Chief Executive Officer Dr. Mohammed Bashir says Ahmed suffered multiple injuries.
It is multiple gunshot wound injuries. On the same behind the right knee. The bone was shattered, and also there was a vascular injury of the popliteal. The major artery that supplies the lower leg was severed.
The injuries are so grave that doctors have proposed that he undergoes an amputation.
Now that I have lost my leg, it will have a serious impact in my daily routine. I feel pain, I feel hurt.
Ahmed and his family say no one has been arrested so far. The Elders constituency elections were aborted on August 9th and held a day later, following chaos that erupted due to a dispute on how the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission had hired the presiding officers and their deputies. Kamche Menza for Prime Edition.
Now, Wafula Chebukati is a household name, and we know him more for IBC and him heading the body. But what's the other side of Wafula Chebukati? That story and more coming up shortly after the break.
Pata ulimi na mafikira kama sikiza tune kwenye simu yako, bonyeza star 811 star 815 hash.
Hey, my friend, ulimi ni kama msumari na mafikira ni kama nyundo. Hizo vitu mbili zikishikana, sinaweza jenga ama sinaweza bomoa. Haki na sita tafadhali. Hebu fikiria hiyo kitu nataka kuniambia kabla nishike hii simu. Kama unataka kunibomoa, toa hiyo simu kwa masikio. Unaona hiyo kitu ya red? Finya hiyo kitu ya red.
Kupata ulimi na mafikira, bonyeza star 811 star 815 hash. Star 811 star 815 hash.
Welcome back. Now, with the prolonged drought being witnessed in Wajir County, children below the age of 5 years have borne the brunt of malnutrition. According to the World Health Organization, around 45% of deaths among children within this age bracket are linked to deficiency of nutrition, otherwise known as undernutrition. Jackie Wambera takes us to Wajir County and has the story for you.
Meet Abdi, not his real name. Abdi's mother has brought him for a checkup at the Wajir Referral Hospital. After observation, he is now found to require treatment for malnutrition. The drought has had devastating consequences on her family, especially after losing livestock, the main source of the family income.
Wajir County is one of the counties that is currently experiencing severe drought. 40% of the population are in food aid. Malnutrition rate among the under 5 is 21.7%.
Because of the drought, most of our population are even outside the county and even outside Kenya, leaving behind children and mothers and old people. This will make them very much vulnerable to malnutrition.
She says the medical workers recommended that the baby be fed with formula milk, a product she says was difficult to acquire due to financial constraints. Abdi's health seemed to be deteriorating. It is then that she opted to seek medical attention. At the pediatric ward in Wajir County Referral Hospital, a 3-year-old has been admitted after suffering from acute malnutrition.
The child came with complaint of diarrhea. The child also had swelling of the body. The child also had cough. On measurements, the child was found to be severely malnourished.
The toddler is among the number of children malnourished for long periods due to the prolonged drought.
The mother is from very far place, that's about 120 kilometers from here. The mother was a pastoral. Because of the drought, she lost a lot of herds of livestock. In the process, the child got malnourished. During this drought, daily we usually admit 2 to 3 children. That's daily.
Her family was barely getting any food. After being diagnosed with acute malnutrition, she began receiving treatment to help her regain her health.
Immediately after we admit a child, we start with a feed called F75, where the child usually stays for the first 3 days. Then we transit it to F100, which we expect a lot of weight gain. At this stage, we don't expect a weight gain. The child also had a very poor appetite. Hence is using an AG2. So this type of feeding method we are not currently using for this child is NG2 because the child is not feeding orally.
In a separate instance, this 2-year-old is among children who have received treatment and are showing signs of improvement.
So basically, today is the 10th day. The child is doing very well. During admission, the child was very weak. The child was also lethargic and had a very poor appetite.
To gauge the level of malnutrition a child is experiencing, medical personnel measure a child's mid-upper arm circumference. A band with green, yellow and red sections is wrapped around the child's upper arm. Green indicates the child is not malnourished, yellow indicates malnourishment, red indicates severe malnourishment and risk of death.
So first, when the first contact with the child, we take the family history. After taking the family history, we assess the child. We take the weight, we take the mark, and we take the height. These are the anthropometric measurements we use to detect malnutrition.
Malnutrition refers to deficiencies, excesses, or imbalances in a person's intake of energy or nutrients.
Children and women are the most affected because they are the most vulnerable. They have little access to health services. They have little or no access to economic opportunities.
The term malnutrition addresses three broad groups of conditions, including undernutrition, which includes wasting or low weight for height, stunting, which is low weight for age, and underweight, which is low weight for age. Micronutrient-related malnutrition, which includes micronutrient deficiencies or a lack of important vitamins and minerals, or micronutrient excess, and overweight, obesity, and diet-related non-communicable diseases such as heart disease, stroke, diabetes, and some cancers.
Most of the children come with medical complication whereby they have diarrhea, pneumonia. That is the major cause. But the other thing, mostly we have realized that there is a drought currently, and after we take the history, most of the families are poor and they can't afford a balanced diet to give the child.
To treat the children suffering from severe acute malnutrition, food alone is not enough. An addition of nutrient-rich food treatment called ready-to-use therapeutic food comes in handy.
Supplements are given according to the child's weight. The least receives 14 as per the guideline, and the highest receives 32.
Ready-to-use therapeutic food like fortified peanut paste is packed with nutrients such as vitamin C, iron, calcium, potassium, protein, among others, designed to revive severely malnourished in just days. This is what the medical workers are using to treat the children. In efforts to address the obtaining situation, Wajir County Government, in partnership with Save the Children, has launched an emergency response for communities living in Wajir that has limited access to health services, such as screening children and pregnant mothers for acute malnutrition and providing families with nutrition support.
These interventions include health services. Save the Children is providing health services throughout integrated outreaches to more than 100,000 populations without an access to static health facilities.
Residents lauded the initiative, calling on the government to address the plight.
The drought has worsened. We lack water, health facilities, medication and relief food. We have money, but we have nowhere to spend it.
Health specialists calling on the need to put in place long-term development measures so as to address drought crisis affecting the region.
Capacity build it so that they go on the other way of agricultural development. Maybe they can be given educationals on agriculture, on irrigations, and maybe other income source other than livestock.
And drought is something that is becoming near normal in these counties. So it's all about, adapting strategies and supporting community and strengthening community institutions.
Reporting for Prime Edition, I'm Jackie Wambiru.
Thank you, Jackie, for that report. Now, the National Council of Non-Governmental Organizations have lauded Kenyans for maintaining peace during the just concluded elections. The council's chair, Stephen Cheboy, says as a council, they did their part in peace campaigns before the August 9 polls and will continue engaging political leaders to continue preaching peace as the country moves forward.
National Council of Non-Governmental Organizations says the peace and calm demonstrated by Kenyans as they exercise their democratic rights and after the electioneering period is worth emulating. The council adding that going forward, key political leaders and Kenyans alike should strive to become peace ambassadors.
We appreciate that there was a lot of unity that was witnessed across the country. Tunataka amani. Tunataka umoja. Tunataka nini? Umoja. Wa viongozi wetu.
What we are supposed to be focusing is about how we are going to live one another as a family. United, we stand. Divided, we fall.
These as elders allied to the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition in the county of Migori called on the youth and residents in the region to keep calm and shove divisive politics in the wake of the August 9th presidential poll results.
No more burning. These are our properties. We win or we don't win. Migori is ours. We'll need the tarmac. all those you have destroyed is an illegality.
And in Isiolo County, supporters of the winners of various elective seats in the just concluded general elections have been cautioned to be sensitive even as they celebrate. Various stakeholders opine celebrations should be modest so that those who did not emerge victorious are not provoked unnecessarily, a situation that could spark conflict.
Isiwe sherehe ya kuudhi wengine, isiwe ni sherehe ya kusumbua wengine, isiwe sherehe ya kulete kero kwa wengine. Hiyo itakuwa dhambi. Tufanye mambo kulingana na taratibu za sheria ambazo tumepewa.
Yusufar reporting for Prime Edition.
Maendeleo ya Wanawake organization has held women for seeking elective posts and emerging victorious in the general election. The organization's chair, Rehab Amoya, says the shift from 3 governors to 8, in addition to other positions secured by women politicians, is a significant step towards increasing women's participation in the bicameral parliament. Rehab, at the same time, lauded security organs for the adequate protection provided to candidates and electorate during the electioneering period.
We are glad that the campaigns we did in 2017, we were able to get quite many MCAs, 3 governors. But after these elections, we've done pretty well. We have been able to get 7 governors from 3, single constituencies 26 from 23, again the 47 women representatives. We are not forgetting the MCAs. It is indeed a significant step towards the Kenyan women participation in the 2 houses. Maiwo has come around. During the 70 years, there are times we have to make bold decisions. And this particular time, we want to say we have always supported the government, and we will continue to do so. You are very clear, according to you, that my choice did not succeed. I have said when the country settles down, we shall come back here and talk. I represent very many women. I have listened to them thinking that we've been a bit quiet, and I have come here to say the few things I have said. So when the country settles down, we shall talk.
Now, this is a story that I was looking forward to. Now, born in 1961 in Bungoma County, Wanyonyi Wafula Chebukati is no doubt a household name in Kenya since his appointment to head the country's electoral body, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, as he gears up for retirement in January 2023. So does beg the question, is Chebukati a hero or a villain?
To ensure that the provisions in the law are followed.
61-year-old Wafula Chebukati, the man who has overseen all the elections since 2017, having come in on January 18, 2017, courtesy of President Uhuru Kenyatta's appointment. The intrigues that surrounded the resignation of the previous electoral team would certainly make Chebukati not anticipate his new role at the helm of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission to be a walk in the park.
We are coming in office when the exercise is going on, voter registration is going on. So we are going to hit the ground running to ensure that all the processes and systems involved are in place. Of course, our long-term goal is to ensure IEBC has proper systems in place and processes so that not every year come in, come out election year, we have to redo these things.
If 2022 general elections is anything to go by, he had not anticipated it was to be this rough either. He was appointed alongside 6 other commissioners, namely Vice Chair Consolata Nkatha, Roslyn Akombe, Paul Kibiwot Kurgat, Abdi Gulie, Margaret Mochana, and Boya Molu.
I, Dr. Paul Kibiwot Kurgat.
I, Boya Molu.
I, Professor Abdi Gulie.
I, Kwamboka Roslyn Akombe, Doctor. I, Margaret Wanjala Mwachanya. I, Consolata Nkatha Butcher Minor.
The resilience, developed during a 36-year career in litigation and dispute resolution, would be tested 7 months after his appointment as his commission oversaw the 2017 general election.
To our brothers who were worthy competitors, we are not enemies. We are all citizens of one republic.
With Uhuru Kenyatta getting elected for a second term as president, the opposition, led by Raila Odinga, would successfully petition the Supreme Court to nullify the result, and a repeat election was sanctioned.
So using some fake ID cards to register people as voters, like we demonstrated.
Despite weeks of protest by the Odinga-led National Super Alliance coalition and calls to overhaul IEBC, Chebukati did not give in. However, Commissioner Rosalina Kombe could not sustain the pressure, quitting before the repeat polls, claiming that some commissioners were partisan and the commission could not deliver a credible election. Although Chebukati reinforced the Kombe's claims, adding that commissioners had voted down his intended reforms based on political affiliations, he would oversee the repeat presidential election in which Uhuru Kenyatta was re-elected after Raila Odinga refused to contest. The commission had weathered the storm, or so it thought. In April 2018, the commission was once again making the headlines after the chair, Wafula Chebukati, suspended CEO Ezra Chiloba over what he termed as gross misconduct at the commission, a suspension that would eventually lead to Chiloba getting fired.
I'm told they're not, so that's fine. I cannot force myself in.
The development would see more changes at the commission as 3 commissioners, namely Vice Chair Consolata Nkatha, Paul Kurgat and Margaret Mwachanya, resigned. This would leave the commission with a lack of quorum. In 2021, at a time when political campaign mood ahead of the 2022 general election was picking up, Chebukati and IEBC would get a boost as President Kenyatta nominated and appointed 4 new commissioners, Juliana Cherera, Francis Mathenge Wanderi, Irene Masit and Justus Abonyo, after they were cleared by the National Assembly. This move was aimed at helping the commission attain quorum while making major decisions as well as restoring its integrity. Fast forward to August 2022 as Kenyans headed to the polls to elect new leaders.
Kenya will hold its 12th general election since independence and its 7th since the introduction of multi-party democracy in 1992. And this will be the 3rd general election to be held under the Constitution of Kenya 2010. Kenya is also on the verge of transition of power through an election for its 5th president. This momentous occasion will be in the hands of 22,120,458 registered voters.
To Chebukati's relief, the voting process was quite smooth, or so it appeared, with few cases of malpractices being reported across the country. With voting closed and winners of various elective posts announced, the ball was now in IEBC's court as the citizenry waited anxiously to know who would be announced the 5th president of the Republic of Kenya. And waiting they did. After 6 days of vote tallying, with constant updates on the progress being made by Chebukati, the D-Day came. Monday 15th August kicked off filled with anxiety as supporters of both camps awaited Chebukati's big announcement. The national returning officer, as per communique to the media, was to name the presidential winner at 3 p.m. A 2-hour delay would see chaos erupt at the National Tallying Centre, the Bomas of Kenya, as agents and politicians allied to opposing camps clashed. After calm was restored, Chebukati would announce William Ruto as the president-elect.
William Samoei has been duly elected as the president.
Ruto praised Chebukati, terming him the country's hero. The Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party presidential candidate Raila Odinga rejected the results and accused Chebukati of bungling the election.
Avoidance of doubt, I want to repeat that we totally and without reservations reject the presidential results announced yesterday by Mr. Chebukati.
A hero or a villain? The big question as Chebukati marked his last general election ahead of his retirement. For Prime Edition, I'm Richard Monga.
At least 26 people have been killed and dozens more injured in forest fires that have devastated northern Algeria. Elsewhere, Mali says France has violated its airspace and delivered arms to Islamist militants in an attempt to destabilize the West African country. Details in our international roundup.
The death toll in Algeria's forest fires has risen to 38. Firefighters supported by helicopters are still trying to contain the 39 fires ravaging various parts of northern Algeria. They warned that hot winds could spread the flames further, adding that some 350 residents have been evacuated in various provinces. Northern Algeria is affected by forest fires every year, with Kamel Belejou, the country's interior minister, noting that 106 fires have broken out in Algeria since August, destroying some 800 hectares of forest and 1,800 hectares of woodlands. And at least one person has been killed in Guinea during a day of protests against the ruling military junta. Reports from the capital, Conakry, say a teenage boy was killed by security forces as the motorcade of the military leader, Colonel Mamadi Doumbouya, passed through the city. An opposition group says a second young man was also shot, but police have denied this. Clashes broke out during the day as demonstrators hurled stones at officers who retaliated with tear gas. Several people have been arrested. Guinea's military, which seized power last year, has banned all demonstration and it has pledged to move to civilian rule within 3 years. Elsewhere, 21 people have been killed and 33 others injured in a huge explosion that ripped through a crowded mosque in Afghan capital, Kabul. The blast, which occurred during the evening prayers, left the mosque's imam among the dead. It is still unclear who is behind the attack, a week after the prominent so-called Islamic State killed a pro-Taliban cleric in a suicide bomb blast also in Kabul. Islamic State has emerged the most potent enemy of the Taliban, who seized control of Afghan last year. In the meantime, 4 people have died and 20 others were wounded in a pre-dawn shelling of the residential area in the eastern Ukrainian city of Kharkiv. In the southern Slobidsky district, one of the missiles hit a 4-story dormitory, partially destroying it. Separately, Russian missile attacks in the town of Krasnogard, about 100 kilometers southwest of Kharkiv, destroyed several residential buildings in strikes that left 2 civilians dead and 2 others injured, including a 12-year-old. For Prime Edition, I'm Samuel Kariuki.
We need numbers.
And I'm sure Dad is not supposed to find out about this.
No, not in this life.
How would you like coming to work here at Genji?
Is Kathy in agreement with all of this?
I'm not answerable to her.
Why don't you want the same thing as your mother? How do I trust you?
I'll help you the board members.
How?
I'll call them one by one.
I may want to hire your cousin.
Wewe nakutambua.
Baadaye.
Juu hasa umepataka hiyo kazi, utanipatia 20%.
Yo hii, usisemage mimi huwa sikujegi.
Wewe, usifanye nikuwe tena wewe.
Mimi nimepataka nikitaka kutoka ni sherehe kazi.
Must he be here?
Alafu utaniachia mlango, mimi nitafunga after meeting.
Mtu akiwa serious, akuwe serious.
Life cannot always be too serious.
Yeah, man, what's up here?
Allah?
We've got to take some time off and laugh and laugh. and we tickle you down with lots of laughter.
That's why I'm saying I'm who is who.
Huh? With satire like no other.
Tell him to bring it on.
Dakachapa.
Welcome back. It's now time for business, and we start with some good news in the coffee sector, where coffee prices increased by 4% in the latest auction at the Nairobi Coffee Exchange, with a 50 kilo bag retailing at an average of 32,249 shillings. The top grade coffee was auctioned at 798 shillings and 49 cents per kilo.
Coffee farmers will earn more from their produce according to the latest data from the Nairobi Coffee Exchange. On average, a 50 kilo bag of high quality AA fetched 40,103 shillings, with 1,401 bags offered at the auction, earning farmers 65 million shillings. Grade AB was the most traded, with 6,834 bags of coffee offered worth 294 million shillings. Grade C was the second most traded at the auction, with 5,850 kilo bags on offer, generating 191 million shillings at the auction. The ML grade was the least traded variety at the auction, with only 30 bags on sale, with the highest quality of the variety fetching 19,754 shillings, earning farmers 515,084 shillings. The Nairobi Coffee Exchange says the sustained high prices are due to high demand from processors who traded even during the election period. The Nairobi Coffee Exchange notes that the quality of coffee beans from the second harvest is also high and the good prices could be sustained. In total, the latest figures indicate that as at 16th of this month, a total of 15,823 bags were traded on the floor of the Nairobi Coffee Exchange, selling at an average of 32,350 shillings, earning farmers 630 million shillings. Early this month, coffee prices had reduced to 31 shillings and 59 shillings per 50 kg kilo bag, with 18,467 bags traded, generating 709 million shillings.
Normal business activities have resumed in major parts of the country, with the back-to-school rush accelerating the process, while applauding Kenyans for conducting themselves peacefully during the electioneering period. Business leaders led by the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry noted that the country cannot afford another sluggish nation building, as has been witnessed as campaigns and elections picked.
Normalcy has resumed after the elections, with schools reopening Thursday and business activity picking again, at least based on a spot check by KBC in Nairobi city centre. The situation is replicated in other urban centres such as Mombasa, Kisumu, Nakuru, with the back-to-school rush accelerating business activities. Despite this, the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry is calling on business operators to resume operations, noting that the country cannot afford another sluggish nation building, as has been witnessed over the last 2 weeks during the electioneering period.
We therefore appeal to the citizens and the business community of Mombasa to resume their normal daily activities following the conclusion.
They say business activity had slowed due to the effects of the Ukraine-Russia war, the COVID-19 pandemic, And uncertainties surrounding the electioneering period. The officials have lauded Kenyans for conducting themselves peacefully during the electioneering period, noting that this has helped foster confidence among the investors. They are hopeful that the incoming administration would put in place policies that will support businesses to thrive.
In a nutshell, what do you expect? We expect a government that involves us in the process of policy making that will spark growth and business within the region and the country at large.
On ongoing infrastructural projects such as the Dongo-Kundu Bypass Highway and the Special Economic Zone, they want the projects completed within the set timelines.
We expect the incoming government, whichever it will be, after the final rounds of disputes and anything else is done, we expect the incoming government to be able to put policies in place that will be able to open up the environment for good business to thrive. We'll be expecting this government to ensure that Dongo-Kundu, the Special Economic Zone, is working. We'd be expecting this government to ensure that the businesses that were suffering as a result of COVID or any other measures negative are being restored to work.
They are also hopeful that the incoming administration would implement affordable tax regimes. Caroline Jenga for Prime Edition.
The Kenya Bureau of Standards targets to certify 100 welders this financial year as part of the reforms to formalize this sector. The standards body says certification is part of plans to open up opportunities for welders in the formal sector to secure employment and contracts from formal institutions.
Welders seeking to professionalize their trade will be required to secure certification from the Kenya Bureau of Standards. Those seeking certification will be required to undergo examinations set by the Kenya Bureau of Standards before being accredited.
You join them using heat fusion, and sometimes you can have challenges in terms of porosity, in terms of deformation, in terms of cracks. That is why we need welding certification.
The certification scheme, which is in partnership with the National Industrial Training Authority (NITA), is geared towards improving the quality of welding in Kenya and improving the skill set of local welders.
We also enable our youths, who are very many, to also be engaged as migrant workers outside the country.
Welders seeking certification will be assessed continuously for a period of 6 months. Once certified, welders will secure a license that will be renewable after every 3 years. The Kenya Bureau of Standards says the certification will be globally recognized.
Ever wondered how the internal heat of the earth, otherwise known as geothermal, is processed into electricity? Our crew was at the Kengen Geothermal plant in Naivasha and filed the following report on geothermal power generation.
We are here at the Kengen Geothermal Generation Plant in Naivasha to get to witness the process of geothermal power production. We're taken to the steam fields, the actual source of geothermal power.
Once then, of course, the geoscientific team has identified the area. The infrastructure comes in to do the well sites and also the access roads. Now, once that has happened, then that site is transferred to another department called drilling and logistics. Now, drilling and logistics are responsible for drilling of the well.
The team goes to the field, then we collect data, and that data is what is used to site the wells. A suitable site for us to be able to drill that well.
The process of geothermal power making begins here. The steam comes from the steam fields through steam inlets on either side of the plant to allow the steam to flow more efficiently into the turbine.
And the turbine is laid such that you can be able to ensure the steam flows from two sides so that it is very efficient. It expands very efficient from the first stage to the last stage.
The steam
enters the power plant and goes through a separator that separates the water and the steam and ensures that no water gets into the turbine.
Once the steam is at the plant, then we will take it through a steam scrubber, and the objective is to remove any water that has remained or that has come with the steam.
The steam must be 99.99 dry to be able to operate the turbine in a safe way. The dry steam enters the plant and rotates the turbines at 3,000 evolutions per minute. Once the turbine rotor rotates, it also automatically rotates the generator because the generator rotor is within the electromagnetic field. Electricity is then generated.
And once the generation or the turbine rotor rotates, then it rotates the generator rotor.
The electricity is generated at 11,000 volts and later to 22,000 volts to be able to be transmitted to other areas. Once power is generated, it is transported from the generator through giant cables that are inside a protective cable casing that protects the cables from interference or accidents and carry the power cables from the generator to the transformers. We then go to the control room.
So from here we can see the whole plant overview.
Once the steam or the condensate has been used to turn the turbine, it is exhausted into the cooling tower basin and condensed back to water.
So this is the final stage of the process. After the steam has been converted to electricity, transported through the electricity power grids, and then the steam comes in through the condenser into this cooling tower at 105 degrees Celsius. It is cooled to 23 degrees Celsius. It is then re-injected into the re-injection tank where the process begins all over again.
Nisi Manokoth for the process.
Thank you, Nisi, for that report. Now, if you are a safari adventurer keen on culture, wildlife and conservation in a remote area, then Naimuk Wildlife Conservancy in Samburu County is ideal for you. The conservancy is a successful result of the community embracing the idea of wildlife protection to advance their well-being. Our reporter Irene Muchuma Odim now unpacks for us the attractive story of Naimuk Wildlife Conservancy.
Stanbic Holding.
Coming up shortly, Stanbic Holding made a 4.8 billion shillings during the first 6 months of this year, representing a 37% year-on-year increase. The lender attributes the profit increase to its digital transformation strategy that saw 90% of new accounts being openly digitally.
Stanbic Holdings, that has operations in Kenya and South Sudan, has attributed the increase in profit partnership agreements and stakeholder engagement. Stanbic Holdings says their focus on socio-economic development helped boost interactions with micro and small enterprises across the country, aiding such businesses acquire financial inclusion through training programs. The lender lauds the performance, noting that the business environment was harsh due to the local political strain and international risks posed by the Russia-Ukraine war, rising inflation, currency pressures, and global resurgence of the COVID-19 variants. Despite this, the number of active customers increased 39% during the first 6 months of this year. Stanbic Bank CEO Charles Modiwa says the lender's strategy relied on ease of convenience, which improved client experience while driving scale.
The group's customer loans rose 31% to 217 billion shillings, while net interest income was up 21%, driven by growth in the lending book, improved margins, and funding cost management. Credit quality improved, evidenced by a reduction in the credit loss ratio to 1.1% in the first half of 2022 from 1.64% during a similar period last year. Going forward, Stanbic Bank plans to focus on deepening client relations and improving operational efficiency. Hibak Saeed for Prime Edition.
Erratic rains as well as frequent and regular droughts has seen income from pastoral activities drastically reduce. This has forced most residents of arid Samburu, Isolo, Laikipia, Marsabit areas to embrace alternative income generating activities such as beading. Now, before the elections, our reporter Yusuf Farah was in the arid areas where he witnessed how training and support from various institutions is paying off. Take a look.
Our day begins at the Kalama Conservancy, La Risora village in Samburu County. In this homestead in the Conservancy, we meet the star beaters deeply engrossed in their craft. Traditional songs keeping them company as they chant away the morning. They are attentive in their art, their tools of trade, beads and thread. The Beadworks program was introduced by the Northern Rangelands Trust Trading and Partners with established women's group in the conservancies as a means to help them turn their traditional craft into a viable, sustainable business.
Sasa mimi ndio nanulia mtoto nguo mpaka viatu mpaka mzee yangu. Saa hii sisi kwa na sauti saa hii. Samani sana wana nyumba hii ya mawe ni ngumi, kumbe ni rahisi.
We have our wildlife inspired colorways, but we also have contemporary colors that are, requested by customers. So we are open to, do what the market wants, but at the same time sustain and also present our own beautiful products and culture to the market.
Their story is similar to the star beaters here at the Serra Conservancy in Alderikesi village. The star beaters say prior to this, they will be fully dependent on the men of the house on basic needs, which put them at a disadvantage whenever the men couldn't make ends meet.
Hiki na mama yote ni tajiri sana. Hiki na mama anashika kwa mzee na watoto na mali yake.
Sai mzee akihusika, mzee anakuuliza basi nataka basi tuuze hii mpaka ng'ombe, lakini samani hakuna mtu anauliza wapi. Wao nakaa tu hakuna sauti.
Beadworks now has 1,190 active members. They enjoy market base both locally and internationally. They earn their coin through the Northern Rangelands Trust sales, and the money is channeled to their mobile wallets. 5% of the income is injected back to the Conservancy. The savings the star beaters here get from this business allow them to take advantage of the economic opportunities presented to them, and in this way not take care of just themselves and their families, but the community as well. We leave for Arches Post Town, where we meet 24-year-old Florence Lol Churaki, a beneficiary of the Ujuzi Manyatani program, which equipped her with skills in hairdressing and mobile phone repairs.
Niko na mtoto kwa shule. So hiyo pesa ambayo napata kwa kosi yangu inanisaidia pia familia yangu, hasa wazazi wangu wananitegemea mimi.
We would like really the government to adopt Ujuzi Manyatani as a training model so that more people will be reached through this initiative.
We are at the Lengusaka Trading Center, where behind me is the Ujuzi Garage, owned by one of the Ujuzi Manyatani beneficiaries. And we're going to talk to them and take a look at how a normal business day is for them here. Simon Liperamoy owns this garage which repairs motorcycles and sells repairs for the SEM. He recalls his past life before joining the program which took trainings to their manyatas. He's now a changed man who depends on this business for his livelihood and is fast at teaching fellow young men the skills. The program also offers courses in mechanics, masonry, welding and carpentry among others. Since its inception in the year 2019, 546 people have graduated. Projects like the Ujuzi Manyatani and the Star Beaters have provided the beneficiaries with an alternative source of income, even as they look to expand their businesses in the future. Yusuf Far reporting for KBC Channel 1 from the Langusaka village, county of Samburu.
I don't know about you, but that's so inspiring and a good way to end the local business stories. Now, the number of foreign tourists who visited Tanzania between January and July this year increased by 62.7% year-on-year, helped by the easing of COVID-19 pandemic restrictions across the world. Details of this and other news coming up in Africa in the Business Roundup.
The National Bureau of Statistics says 742,133 foreign tourists visited Tanzania between January and July this year, compared to 456,266 tourists that visited the country during the same period in 2021. Officials say that July 2022 recorded the highest tourist arrivals at 166,736 compared to 81,307 arrivals in July 2021, which is a 105.1% rise. Service providers in the tourism sector were urged to prepare for the rising number of tourists visiting Tanzania by improving and expanding hospitality services. The National Bureau of Statistics officials say the easing of COVID-19 pandemic restrictions across the world was likely to increase the number of tourists wishing to visit Tanzania. Meanwhile, Dubai-based Emirates Airline has said it will suspend flights to Nigeria from the start of next month as it has been unable to repatriate its money from Nigeria. The problem has arisen because Nigeria has restricted access to foreign exchange. Emirates says it has made considerable efforts to initiate dialogue with the relevant authorities for their urgent intervention to help find a viable solution. In June, the International Air Transport Association said that Nigeria was not handing over $450 million owed to the various airlines. Emirates said it could reconsider its decision should there be any positive developments in the coming days. Affected travelers can get refunds for their tickets. Finally, Angola and the European Union are set to start talks for a trade deal this year after the EU and African partners approved for a request from the oil-producing nation to join a regional trade bloc. The green light to start negotiation comes shortly before the Southern African country holds general elections next week. The looming deal would likely increase the export of Angolan products to the EU and possibly reduce the dominance of oil, which currently accounts for nearly all exports by value. The boost in trade expected from the deal and EU's increased need for fuel amid the energy crisis caused by war in the Ukraine. The boost in trade expected from the deal and EU's increased need of fuel amid the energy crisis caused by war in the Ukraine. Ndusa Mokami for Prime Edition.
The U.S. has announced that they will begin formal trade negotiations with Taiwan weeks after a controversial visit by U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. The discussion will include talks on trade facilitation, digital trade, and anti-corruption standards. The first round of the talks are expected to begin in the fourth quarter of this year. Here are the details of this and other stories from across the globe.
The U.S.-Taiwan Initiative on 21st Century Trade was first unveiled in June, with both sides now saying they had reached consensus on the negotiating mandates. Trade between the U.S. and Taiwan was worth nearly $106 billion in 2020. The announcement comes as China launched its largest ever military exercises around Taiwan after Pelosi's visit earlier in August. Under the One China policy, the US recognizes and has formal ties with China rather than the island of Taiwan, but maintains a robust and official relationship with Taiwan, including continued arms sales to the island so that it can defend itself. China sees the self-governing island as its own renegade territory that must be united with the mainland. However, Taiwan is a self-ruled island that sees itself as distinct from the mainland. Meanwhile, the World Food Programme's top official in Afghanistan said that 18.9 million people, or nearly half the population, are facing food scarcity, and 6 million are just one step away from famine, making the war-torn country the world's new hunger hotspot after a year of Taliban control. The WFP representative and country director in Afghanistan said that many households have exhausted their mechanisms to feed themselves. Afghanistan's humanitarian crisis is being compounded by restrictions imposed by the Taliban on activities allowed to women and girls in the country. Finally, Australia's jobless rate dropped to a fresh 48-year low in July, even as employment broke a super strong run with the first fall this year, a mixed report that might hint at some cooling in the red-hot labour market. Figures from the Australian Bureau of Statistics showed the jobless rate dipped to 3.4% when analysts had looked for it to hold at 3.5%. That was the lowest rate since August 1974 and only added to evidence the labour market was drum tight.
Well, it looks like we do have a lot of you who are safari adventurers, because I did read out this story earlier on, but we had a technical hitch, but it's back, the Nanyuk Wildlife Sanctuary.
Established in 1995, the Namunyak Conservancy in Samburu County covers 850,000 acres and is managed by the local community, which has embraced wildlife and conservation. Namunyak Conservancy has a landscape that is pretty as a picture, with outstanding features from the Matthew Mountain Range. Oldoino Lenkio is the highest peak in the central part of the mountain range. While on a visit, you may also notice a small distinctive hill from the mountain range dubbed Sweet 16 by the community. The lush vegetation of the forest is fed by several seasonal streams that crisscross the mountains, as well as the river Ewasonyiro. The water and food sources here attract wildlife, among them herbivores and predators at times. And as they say, conservation can never work without the community. Namunyak is ideal for groups interested in exploring nature and making a destination a better place.
The only county with an orphanage, a rotative orphanage, a real one, within the community conservancy. That tells you that community conservancies have really gone ahead and actually embraced the issues of conservation to an extent that they are giving their land to be used for those activities like the rhino sanctuaries, the elephant orphanage, and all these are putting money into the pockets, because there is direct employment and there is indirect employment. Rich culture of maybe the issue of cattle, how they draw the blood from the cattle. People are now embracing what we call the homestays. There are people who just specifically come to those villages, they stay there, they pay their money, they get educated through that.
Irene Mchuma Udim, Magical Sense in Samburu.
Wiki hii kwenye mkulima tutajifunza jinsi ya kupima mchanga na umuhimu wake kabla ya kufanya upanzi.
Mkulima atutembelee ndio tumueleze kama mchanga yake iko na viini mbaya zile zinaweza dhuru mumea.
Ungana nasi Jumapili saa 9:30 hapa KBC Channel 1 kwa uondo kamili.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723-892-654 or 0734-780-124.
Welcome back. A very good evening to you. I do hope you're holding up well. Let's now shift focus to matters sports. My name is Karen Kibet. Now, the tennis sensation Angela Okutoyi is the LGS Sports Personality of the month of July. 18-year-old Okutoyi achieved the feat by becoming the first ever Kenyan Grand Slam winner when she won the Wimbledon Open Doubles Junior Championships on 9th July in England. Okutoyi now becomes the first sports person to win the LG SJEC Sports Personality of the Month award 3 times.
Angela Okutoyi made a history by becoming the first Kenyan to win a tennis Grand Slam title when she clinched a doubles category in Wimbledon last month. Okutoyi and her partner Rosemary Nijkamp from Netherlands vanquished Canadian duo of Kayla Cross and Victoria Mboko in the junior doubles final.
I'm really grateful to have won this 3 times now, 2 times absent, and now this is my first time present in this presentation, so it's a really good thing, and I hope to come back here for the 4th one.
To win the Mandri Trophy, Okutoyi beat several other nominees, including 100 meters champion Ferdinand Omanyala, Faith Kipyegon, and Emmanuel Koril.
Well, I don't take it as a warm-up tournament. I take it as also a tournament, so I'm really looking forward to do great there, to get the confidence that I can also do good in singles, not only doubles.
Other nominees were rugby star Dennis Abukuse, instrumental in Menengai Oilers' inaugural National 7th Circuit victory, Helen Wawira, who bagged gold at the 2022 World Para Powerlifting, and Winnie Kabura Motoni, who won the Africa Youth Chess Champion Under-8 title in Lusaka, Zambia.
Out there to all the people supporting the sportswomen and sportsmen in Kenya, I think this girl has made it known that it is possible.
King Orimwangi, Prime Edition.
Newly crowned 100-meter Commonwealth Games champion Ferdinand Omanyala has resumed training ahead of the Continental Tour slated in Italy on the 4th of September this year. Omanyala, who took part in various competitions this year, is expected to leave the country next week. Now, Omanyala has had an outstanding season where, among others, he beat American Fred Kelly to the gold medal in the Kipkeino Classic Continental Tour before he won the 100-meter title in the Africa Senior Athletics Championship in Mauritius, where he also anchored the men's 4x100-meter team to the top podium finish. The Africa 100-meter record holder crowned it all when he became the first Kenyan to win the 100-meter men's Commonwealth title in Birmingham this month, to the delight of the nation. Omanyala is now targeting his first podium finish in the 2024 Olympic Games in Paris, France, after his Olympic Games in debut in Tokyo, where he reached the semi-finals. We sure do wish you, Ferdinand Omanyala, all the best. Now, on to matters football. Wolves have signed Sporting Lisbon and Portugal midfielder Mateus Nunes for a club record fee of £38 million. The 23-year-old Nunes joins Wolves on a 5-year contract. The midfielder, who was born in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, joined Sporting in 2019 and made a 101 appearance for the club, scoring 8 times. Nunes has 8 caps for Portugal and is expected to be part of their squad for this year's World Cup in Qatar. Wolves have started the new top flight season with a 2-1 loss to Leeds United at Elland Road and a goalless draw at home in Fulham. Wolves will face Tottenham away on Saturday in the English Premier League. And finally, Rafael Nadal's first match since pulling out of the Wimbledon semi-finals because of injury ended in defeat at the hands of Croatian Borna Koric at the Cincinnati Open. The Spaniard lost 7-6, 4-6, 6-3 to the world number 152. Nadal has spent 6 weeks recovering from the abdominal muscle injury, and the defeat in the round of 32 matches a blow to his US Open preparations. The year's final Grand Slam event gets underway on 29th of August. Meanwhile, British number 1 Emma Raducanu produced another eye-catching display as she thrashed former world number 1 Victoria Azarenka less than 24 hours after beating Serena Williams. Now, Raducanu continued her preparations for the forthcoming defense of her US Open title with a 6-love, 6-2 win in Cincinnati.
Muscles that one away. He gets it done.
Azarenka, since she really burst through, and she's been around for an awfully long time. The last few years have been tricky. The last few years have been tricky. Last few years have been tricky. Last few years have been tricky.
And those are all the sports stories we had for you tonight. I'm now joining my colleagues, Cynthia and Nyamai.
Karen.
I come closer.
I need more details on the story on Omanyala. I think it was a bit too short, but here's one of those positive stories that you want to hear over and over again about Kenya. And so what's the story about him traveling to Italy? What's that all about?
He's going to take part in an event which is called the Continental Tour. And the Continental Tour moves from city to city.
Yes.
When the Continental Tour is in Kenya, it's called Kipkeino Classic. When it goes to another city, it has another name like that.
Yes.
And at the end of it all, you get to be crowned a champion of a particular event that you take part in. So he was in the Commonwealth Games, and now it is his time to, prepare for the Olympic Games, which will take place in 2024 in Paris. And the best build-up is through this continental tour, because now you get to compete with international athletes as opposed to Kenyan athletes and African athletes, because he's already the champion in
so
Kenya and in Africa. Yes.
I know the areas probably need to improve and so on.
Exactly. So the continental tour will give him the much needed exposure he needs in order to be able to face the other international athletes as they line up for the Paris 100-meter men's race when that time comes in 2024. So we wish him all the best.
Wow, I now love sports because of him. I'm always now watching and finding out where is he exactly. Let me watch. He just knows how to lift up our spirits and make Kenya so proud. So I'm looking forward to that. I will be listening out to you because of that.
Perfect.
Thank you.
He's not yet done. It's just the beginning. So stay tuned.
Thank you so much, Karen. What a positive way to end tonight. And from me and the rest of the team, we do want to wish you a very good night.
Good night. My name is Karen Kibet.
And I am Cynthia Nyamai.